Chapter 420. Immortal City. Mayor's Mansion. 3 figures stood there, Guu and 2 purple-robed servants. Ziwan reported to Guu Holy Sun respectfully. It's Shinku and Kuroha and the rest. They've left, but Mo Yushi and Yang Chuan are chasing after them, Ziwan said confidently. The mantis stalking the cicada? Guu Holy Sun twirled the ring in his hand and sneered. Yes. That should be the case. Ziwan nodded. Ziwan, Zichuan, Guu Holy Sun said calmly. Yes. The 2 purple-robed servants replied simultaneously. Since they've become the mantis, you'll be the Oriole. Yang Chuan? He's too much of an eyesore. Guu Holy Sun said coldly. Holy Sun, don't worry. We'll definitely make Yang Chuan stay. The 2 replied simultaneously. Go. Guu Holy Sun said calmly. Yes. In the forest. Yang Chuan, Mo Yushi and the other 4 were moving quickly. Meow, it's been half a day. Where are they going? Meow sat on Yang Chuan's shoulder and complained. This way. Rosefinch raised an eyebrow. What's wrong? That's the ruins of the immortal Holy Land. Not long ago, there was a flash of light in front of us. Mo Yushi explained. Flash of light. Does that mean that the so-called treasure is here? Yang Chuan frowned. Yes. Unfortunately, the treasure was hidden too well. Even after digging 3 feet into the ground, we still haven't found the treasure. But the more it's like this, the more important the treasure is, Mo Yushi said. Is there anyone guarding here? No, the yin qi here is too strong. It's not suitable to stay here for long, Mo Yushi explained. Treasures may have spirits, and we're guessing that they may appear once a year, at the same time, or at the same time. Yang Chuan nodded. Meow, they've stopped. Meow meow cried. Everyone quietly landed in a valley. In the distance, on a hill. Shinku and Kuroha and the others looked at Poisoner. Is that all? Shinku and Kuroha asked. We set up the array formation last time, but the compass is not mine. So I was worried that it would fail. This time, it will definitely work. Poisoner said coldly. We will protect you. Shinku and Kuroha nodded. Poisoner held the compass in his hand and lightly flashed it. Wheeze. The needle in the center of the compass suddenly spun wildly. He reached out and pressed the compass into the ground. Rumble. Sounds of tremors could be heard coming from all directions. Huff. As the ground trembled, traces of black gas spewed out from the ground. The black gas soared into the sky, and it was extremely gloomy. Is that the death aura? Yang Chuan's face darkened. Bang! Suddenly, a skeleton claw broke out from the ground. Bang! 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 More and more skeletons crawled out from the ground in the blink of an eye. Thousands, tens of thousands, and even more. Ka. Countless human-shaped skeletons let out ear-piercing and eerie roars as they faced the distance. Go! Poisoner shouted. Bang bang bang! The skeletons ran quickly, holding bone sabers and bone spears, and rushed towards a mountain in the distance. Wherever the skeleton army passed, the death aura soared into the sky. Everywhere they passed, the sky was covered, and the moon was covered. It was as if they were isolated from the outside world. The mountain in the distance was hard to pronounce. Death aura? You're here again, you bunch of ghost. Feng Yinyang looked coldly into the distance. Feng Yinyang waved his hand. Rumble. Under Feng Yinyang's feet, the death aura also soared into the sky. Rolling death aura covered the sky, and it rushed towards the death aura opposite. On the ground, zombies crawled out. Chapter 421. The zombies were expressionless. More and more of them crawled out. Go! Feng Yinyang said coldly. Roar! The zombie army roared and charged at the skeleton army. Rumble! The 2 armies ran and soon met at the center of the battlefield. Roar! Crack! The zombies and skeletons fought each other, neither willing to give in. The sound of fighting pierced the void. It was extremely noisy. The 2 sides made contact with each other, and the surroundings were shrouded in the blink of an eye. However, there was a faint blue light amidst the black chi, allowing them to see the tragic battle inside. With just 2 people, they can create a large-scale war scene. Feng Shui masters are really strange. Qing Long sighed. Come, let's go. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Ah! Aren't we waiting for them to fight until both sides are injured? Mo Yu, she said in surprise. The Feng Shui master over there is an acquaintance of mine. Yang Chuan smiled. Oh. Everyone nodded. Since it was an acquaintance, the original plan had to be changed. Whoosh. The group carefully sneaked in Feng Yinyang's direction. Because they were close to the ground, they had no choice but to pass through the battlefield. Roar. Several zombies pounced. Whoosh. Qing Long waved his hand and blocked the zombies. Feng Yinyang, who was far away, immediately sensed something and looked over. Yang Chuan? Feng Yinyang said in surprise. As he spoke, he waved his hand in Yang Chuan's direction. The zombies there immediately ignored Yang Chuan's group and blocked a large number of skeletons for Yang Chuan. In the blink of an eye, Yang Chuan's group approached. Mo Yushi, Qing Long, and the others looked at Feng Yinyang warily. Why are you here? Feng Yinyang asked in surprise. Maybe it's a coincidence. Are you here for the treasures? Yang Chuan immediately asked. No. Feng Yinyang shook his head directly. Oh. Could it be that you're doing this for? Yang Chuan suddenly thought of something. Feng Yinyang nodded and said, That's right. It's a pity that we met a few fellows who just won't go away. Lingering around? Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Feng Yinyang suddenly became extremely serious. Yang Chuan looked over. On top of a distant hill, Poisoner suddenly took out a golden cloth roll. It was about 30 feet in diameter, and there were lines drawn on it. They looked like the lines of a compass. The Northern Sect's Great Expansion Diagram? He's a traitor of the Northern Sect. Feng Yinyang asked in surprise. In the distance, Poisoner was already standing on top of the cloth. He looked around at the area that was shrouded in the aura of death. There was a rainbow-colored feather in his skeletal claw. That's a phoenix feather? Mo Yu, she said in surprise. Poisoner threw the phoenix feather into the golden cloth roll, and it was immediately sucked into it. Buzz! The cloth roll suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light, and the golden light instantly illuminated the area. The black-robed Poison Master's clothes suddenly underwent a magnificent transformation. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a set of golden robes, and a phoenix crown appeared on his head. In the phoenix nest, I'm the Phoenix Lord tilde 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 tilde. Poisoner shouted loudly. Ying tilde tilde tilde. Ying tilde 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 tilde. Ying tilde 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 tilde. In the area shrouded in the aura of death, countless phoenix cries could be heard. Rumble. The hill under Poisoner's feet suddenly expanded, and it became taller and taller. It was like a mountain that rose into the sky. As Poisoner rose, a large number of phoenix illusions flew around. One after another, phoenixes sang loudly as they surrounded Poison Master, emitting phoenix cries that soared into the sky. The entire west side had been covered by the golden light, and the number of phoenix illusions was increasing. The skeletons just now? Just to cover up the aura of death? To create a derivative world? Yang Chuan's face darkened. In the distance, the phoenix illusions gradually solidified, and a strong aura suppressed them. This aura? Is it real? Is it a real phoenix? Qing Long said with a pale face. It's fake, but it's no different from the real one. This is a derivative world. Feng Shui masters have the unique ability to use the power of yin and yang to simulate a sacred realm. Yang Chuan explained. Derivative world? But that's just fake. According to what you said, it's just a simulation. How can it have such a strong aura? Qing Long was puzzled. Do you still remember the Feng Shui formation last time? Is the underworld devil rabbit real or fake? Yang Chuan asked. The Feng Shui formation is different from ordinary formations. It's not real. The derivative world is born from the Feng Shui formation. It's a world formed when powerful Feng Shui masters fight. But Poisoner is only at the immortal state. He shouldn't have the ability to form a derivative world. Yang Chuan frowned and said. Feng Yinyang looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. I didn't expect you to know feng shui. That's right. The feng shui master opposite us is not qualified to form a derivative world, but he has the northern sect's big picture. He stole the big picture of the northern sect, which is the most precious treasure of the northern sect. Feng Yinyang said in a low voice. Phoenix, listen to my order. Poisoner's cold voice came from afar. Hum. Several Phoenix illusions cried out. Capture the man from the east. Poisoner shouted. Hum tilde tilde tilde. The Phoenix illusions cried out. They turned around and rushed toward Yang Chuan. I feel that many of these Phoenix illusions are at the emptiness realm, Qing Long said with a pale face. Feng Yinyang looked at the Phoenix illusions and clenched his fists tightly. Bastard, you spoiled my plan. Alas. Feng Yinyang sighed slightly. What's wrong? Yang Chuan asked. I prepared it for Guu, but... Feng Yinyang sighed slightly. He took a step forward. Buzz. A huge round wheel suddenly appeared under Feng Yinyang's feet. As the wheel rotated, the earth around them roared. On the Dragon Island, I am the Dragon King tilde tilde tilde. Feng Yinyang's roar resounded through the entire derivative world shrouded by the deathly aura. Ang tilde tilde tilde. Ang tilde 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 tilde. Ang tilde 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 tilde. The roars of the dragons soared into the sky. Rumble. The earth under Feng Yinyang's feet roared as if it was about to rise. Clothes. Yang Chuan shouted at Mo Yushi. Here. Mo Yushi quickly handed over a jade box. Feng Yinyang, these are the clothes worn by the 7 people on the other side. They are not stained by anyone else's aura. Yang Chuan threw the jade box to Feng Yinyang, who was rising up. Feng Yinyang's body was surrounded by golden light. He wore a flat imperial crown on his head and slowly rose up. Catching the jade box, Feng Yinyang nodded lightly. Dragon-shaped phantoms suddenly appeared around the towering mountain. There were flood dragons, winged dragons, horned dragons, and hornless dragons. Nearly 1,000 huge dragon illusions suddenly appeared. They roared and supported Feng Yinyang as they soared into the sky. Ang tilde 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 tilde. Ying tilde 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 tilde. In the derivative world, the dragons roared and the phoenixes cried. Chapter 422. In the derivative world. The mountain under Feng Yinyang's feet grew higher and higher. In the blink of an eye, it reached the peak of the derivative world. Like a commander, Feng Yinyang commanded nearly 1,000 dragons as he looked coldly at the poison master on the commander's platform. The 2 feng shui masters were superior and became the protagonists of the derivative world. Qianlong, attack. Feng Yinyang gave the order. Roar. Roar. The dragons roared. In the long roar, they became more and more solid and rushed forward. Boom. Boom. The collision between the phoenix and the dragons suddenly burst out a gust of wind. Below, a group of skeletons and zombies had already fallen down in front of the dragons and phoenixes. For a time, the derivative world was chaotic because of the battle between the 2 sides. The dragon showed its power and threw down the mountain. The phoenix spread its wings and evaporated the small lake instantly. Boom. 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 The loud noise could cause earthquakes again and again. Qing Long and others looked at the sky in horror. A feng shui master who can set up a formation is abnormal, Qing Long said with a complicated expression. I heard that a feng shui master is weak. It doesn't matter how weak he is. With a wave of his hand, a group of divine realm and virtual realm mythical beasts will help him. He can get as many as he wants. How can we fight? Bai Long also said with a complicated expression. It's not that easy. Yang Chuan shook his head with a smile. Yang Chuan and others hid under the mountain of Feng Yinyang's commander. On the other side, Shinku and Kuroha and others also saw Yang Chuan and others. They dare to come? An elder sneered. Let's kill Yang Chuan, another person said. Roar. When a group of virtual realm masters was about to trouble Yang Chuan, a group of dragons suddenly appeared in front of a group of virtual realm masters. They opened their mouths and spat fire at them. Ah! An elder exclaimed. Boom. The elders quickly took out their magic treasures to fight against the dragons. Poisoner, what's going on? Why is his dragon in your home ground? Shinkuan Kuroha exclaimed. Who? Before everyone's eyes, illusory figures of dragons appeared out of thin air. Slowly but surely, the illusory figures of dragons materialized and charged toward the poison master. Boom! A dragon tail swung down on the mountain, causing it to shake violently. The phoenix on the other side seemed to have lost control and were suppressed by the dragons. That's impossible. This is my domain. How did he infiltrate it? Poisoner frowned in shock. Suddenly, Poisoner saw the 7 sets of clothes floating in the air where Feng Yinyang was. Our clothes. Soul condensing technique? Yang Chuan, you bastard Yang Chuan, Poisoner exclaimed. Poisoner, what's going on? Shinkuan Kuroha roared. The Feng Shui master on the other side is too powerful. As soon as the 1,000 dragons appeared, I knew that I was no match for him. My phoenix is only half of his. However, I have the great development diagram. I can fight with him until the end. But I didn't expect him to have our clothes. He can use the clothes to send the will of the dragons directly to us and attack us. Poisoner said angrily. What should we do? The derivative world is closed. Protect me and block the dragons that are coming from all directions. Otherwise, we will be in trouble this time, Poisoner said bitterly. Don't worry, Shinkuan Kuroha said. Boom. The dragons roared and suppressed the phoenix. On the other side, Shinkuan Kuroha and the others were in a difficult situation. An elder was hit by the dragon's tail and was severely injured in the blink of an eye. Chapter 423. Hold on. Shinkuan Kuroha screamed. Phoenix retreated. In the blink of an eye, Poisoner was surrounded by enemies. What a mess. Bastard. Bastard. Poisoner said anxiously. On the other side, Yang Chuan and his team looked satisfied. Meow. These bad guys are doomed. Meow said excitedly. Just as everyone was happily watching the tragedy of the poison master on the other side, buzz. Yang Chuan's expression suddenly changed. Watch out. Yang Chuan shouted. Boom. Azure Dragon struck out with his palm, colliding with the palm that had suddenly appeared. Boom. A gust of wind blew. The two palms collided and separated. In front of Yang Chuan and his team, 2 figures in purple robes appeared. Ziwen, Zichuan? Mo Yushi's expression changed. Saint Yushi. The two of them shouted at Mo Yushi, but there was no respect in their voices. What are you doing here? What do you want? Mo Yushi scolded. Saint, this is an order from Guu Holy Sun. Today, we must stop Yang Chuan, Ziwen said coldly. Who dares? Mo Yushi shouted coldly. Saint, we know that you have just reached the emptiness realm. We have been in the emptiness realm for many years. You are no match for us. Please step aside. It would be bad if we hurt you. Zichuan said coldly. Hurt me? You dare to hurt me? Mo Yushi said coldly. Sorry, we are servants of the Holy Sun. We only listen to the orders of the Holy Sun. If you insist on doing what you want, don't blame us. Zichuan said coldly. How dare you? Mo Yushi shouted coldly. At the same time, she grabbed a folding fan in her hand. Sorry. Zichuan waved the long sword in his hand. Qing Long, block him with me. The rest of you, listen to Yang Chuan, Mo Yushi shouted and rushed forward. Boom. The folding fan and the long sword collided, and a large amount of dirt and stones burst out. Qing Long also rushed forward and blocked Ziwen. Boom. Boom. 4 Emptiness Realm experts started fighting. For a time, the battle in the derivative world was extremely chaotic. There were strong winds everywhere, sand and stones were flying everywhere, and dragons and phoenixes were colliding. Meow. Meow Meow hid in Yang Chuan's arms in horror. Bai Long, Ru's eyes, and Xuanwu's eyes. Yang Chuan looked on coldly with a tinge of worry in his eyes. Guu. Yang Chuan's eyes narrowed. Saintess, you are no match for me. Get out of my way, Zichuan shouted. Mo Yushi did not want to get out of the way. She opened the folding fan in her hand. Suddenly, rays of golden light appeared and rushed toward Zichuan. Sorry for the offense. Zichuan shouted. Clang. The long sword suddenly drew a ray of light and pierced into the folding fan through the gap. Clang. The sword energy instantly pierced through Mo Yushi's chi wall and scratched Mo Yushi's arm. Ah! Mo Yushi was pushed back by the impact. Covering her arm, Mo Yushi's face turned ugly. Blood dripped from her arm. Yushi! Yang Chuan shouted. Mo Yushi turned to look at Yang Chuan and smiled. She shook her head and said, I'm fine. Go. No, Yushi, come here. Let me do it. Yang Chuan shouted. Yang Chuan wanted to borrow Mo Yushi's essence clone. I'm already at the virtual god realm. Can you still borrow my essence clone? Mo Yushi shook her head and smiled bitterly. We have to try, Yang Chuan said anxiously. There's no need. Bai Long, take Yang Chuan and leave. Mo Yushi shouted. Leave? If you dare to leave, I'll kill Mo Yushi. Zichuan sneered. Don't you dare. Yang Chuan shouted. Chapter 424. Saintess Yushi, I don't want to kill you. Get out of the way now, or else, I won't be polite. Zichuan said coldly. Mo Yushi's blood fell to the ground. No one noticed that after Mo Yushi's blood fell to the ground, it disappeared strangely, as if it was absorbed by the ground. Just when Mo Yushi was anxious. Boom tilde 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 tilde. A ray of light broke through the ground and rushed to the sky. It even pierced through the derivative world and rushed to the sky. Ray of light. Treasure. Zichuan said in surprise. On the other side, the battle between Qinglong and Ziwen suddenly stopped. Why now? Why now? Ziwen was also surprised. Even Poisoner, Shinku and Kuroha, and Feng Yinyang looked at the ray of light that rushed out from the ground. The ray of light broke through the derivative world and rushed to the sky. The original darkness of the night became extremely gorgeous because of this colorful ray of light. Immortal City, City Master's Mansion, Holy Sun, the treasure is born, the treasure is born. A practitioner shouted. Guu Holy Sun rushed out of the main hall. Yangjigu also rushed out of the main hall. They looked at the bright colorful ray of light in the distance. The treasure is born. Let's go. Guu Holy Sun shouted excitedly. What treasure? Yangjigu also said excitedly. Rumble. Countless practitioners of the Immortal City rushed to the sky. Under the leadership of Guu Holy Sun, they quickly rushed to the ray of light. The vast group of Xiuzhe charged forward. At the derivative world, Yangran became a huge focus. In the far east of the derivative world, in a valley, a figure in white was sitting cross-legged at this moment. It was the new knife demon that separated from Yang Chuan not long ago, the Emperor. The ray of light rushed to the sky. The Emperor opened his eyes. A gust of wind blew his short hair. The Emperor stood up and looked at the ray of light in the distance coldly. Seven-colored light? Had the heavenly jade palace opened? Who was it? You actually know how to use the blood of the phoenix to open the seal? The Emperor frowned. That place used to be Phoenix's resting place. I don't know how many years it has been. I hope there are still people who know Phoenix. Maybe they know what happened back then. The Emperor sighed. Sheeing. He pulled out the long bronze saber stuck in the ground. The Emperor took a step forward and shot toward the direction where the multicolored light soared into the sky. In the derivative world, the earth was shaking. Multicolored light shot up from the ground into the sky, making the previous battle seem unremarkable. Ying tilde 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 ying tilde 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 ying tilde tilde tilde. Suddenly, a large number of phoenix cries came from underground. This sound was not simulated by Poisoner, but produced from underground. Was there a phoenix cry underground? Boom. A massive explosion sounded out as boundless golden light burst out from the ground and shot into the sky. The zombies and skeletons on the ground were instantly annihilated by the golden light. The golden light shot out and instantly transformed into the shadows of Phoenix. One by one, the shadows of Phoenix appeared. There were tens of thousands of them. Suddenly, the original light of the derivative world increased by several times. A large number of phoenixes rushed toward Mo Yushi's body. A large number of phoenixes rushed toward Poisoner. Phoenixes will! Phoenixes will! The heavens are helping me! The heavens are helping me! Ha 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 ha! Poisoner suddenly shouted excitedly. His hands flipped. Countless phoenixes will rushed out from underground and were suddenly controlled by Poisoner. A large number of phoenixes will condensed into the same phoenix that Poisoner simulated. Ying tilde 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 tilde. 1,000 phoenixes cried out together, and the number of 1,000 phoenixes was still increasing. The situation of being suppressed by the 1,000 dragons was no longer the case. In an instant, they were competing with each other. They even reversed the situation and continued to force toward Feng Yinyang. What's wrong? Feng Yinyang was a little depressed. Chapter 425. A large amount of Phoenix's consciousness rushed into Mo Yushi's body, and a large amount of Phoenix's consciousness was controlled by Poisoner. Feng Yinyang's dragon clan was forced to retreat. The derivative world was in chaos. It was not over yet. In the middle of the two Feng Shui masters' platforms, the earth rumbled, and a jade mountain broke out of the ground. The jade mountain was black and yellow, and the two colors were constantly changing, as if the colors were moving. Rumble. The phoenix's shadow was no longer gushing out from the ground, but from the huge jade mountain. The phoenix's shadow rolling out showed that the phoenix's consciousness came from this huge mountain. As soon as the jade mountain appeared, the originally soaring light suddenly increased by more than 10 times, and shot straight to the 9 heavens, illuminating the heaven and earth with dazzling light. A treasure has appeared. Sichuan was also surprised. 100 feet tall jade mountain attracted everyone's attention. Yang Chuan squinted his eyes, and said in surprise, "The jade of heaven and earth?" Meow. What did you say? What jade? Meow was confused in Yang Chuan's arms. The relic of the undying sanctuary? Xingkuan Kuroha's eyes flashed with greed. Let's go. Xingkuan Kuroha shouted. The 5 elders followed Xingkuan Kuroha and rushed over. Scoundrel, how dare you covet such a precious treasure? Zichuan shouted loudly. Zichuan and Ziwen quickly flew towards the Jade Mountain. Not only the two of them, Mo Yushi and Qing Long also rushed over. In the blink of an eye, everyone had arrived. Rumble. Mo Yushi, Qing Long, Zichuan, and Ziwen worked together to attack Xingkuan Kuroha and the other 5. Rumble. 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 The void exploded, and the fight between the Emptiness Realm experts stirred up a cloud of dust. The elders blocked Mo Yushi, Zichuan, and the others, but Xingkuan Kuroha easily reached the Jade Mountain. He waved his hand, and a huge force rushed towards the Jade Mountain. The huge mountain did not move. Hey! Xingkuan Kuroha's face changed. He reached out his hand and touched the Jade Mountain. Phew! His hand seemed to go through the Jade Mountain. A small space. A small space created by the Immortals? Xingkuan Kuroha's mind. Xingkuan. Isn't it is a? The elder's face changed. Mo Yu she took a step forward and was about to rush towards the Jade Mountain. Keikakik, you still want to run? Great development diagram, trapping gods and erecting phoenixes. Poisoner's sinister laughter came from afar. Roar, roar, roar. The phoenix controlled by Poisoner suddenly surrounded Mo Yushi. As they roared, they each spat out a stream of phoenix breath. The phoenix breath instantly bound Mo Yushi like silk. Hey! Mo Yushi's face changed. She waved her hand, but there were too many phoenix breaths. In the blink of an eye, Mo Yushi was bound. Bastard! Mo Yushi's face changed. The phoenix controlled by Poisoner was both real and illusory. It was extremely powerful. It bound Mo Yushi, and Mo Yushi was unable to move. Sainters! Qing Long's face changed. He threw away his opponent and rushed over. Roar! Roar! A large number of phoenixes flapped their wings and blocked Qing Long's path. Qing Long was extremely anxious. However, the phoenix was not just for show. Keikakik, you want to save her? Don't even think about it. Poisoner laughed excitedly. Chapter 426. Meow, Sister Mo is in trouble. That pervert is going to take Sister Mo away. Meow exclaimed. Sainters! Rosefinch and the others exclaimed. Kai. Yang Chuan flicked his sleeves, and a green vine suddenly shot out. In the blink of an eye, it shot towards Mo Yushi. Gulp. The green vine instantly wrapped around Mo Yushi, as though it wanted to pull Mo Yushi back. Prince Yang, we'll help you. Bai Long quickly pulled Yang Chuan's green vine. No need, my green vine is too weak, I can't pull it back. Yang Chuan said anxiously. In the distance, Mo Yushi struggled with all her might, but there were too many phoenix breaths. Ha 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 ha, the heavens are helping me, come here. Poisoner laughed excitedly. Yushi. Yang Chuan shouted towards the distance. Mo Yushi anxiously turned her head. It's no use, I can't hold on anymore. Mo Yushi wriggled and said sadly. Trust me, don't resist my poison. Yang Chuan shouted towards Mo Yushi. Poison? Mo Yushi didn't understand. At this moment, the sharp end of the green vine suddenly pierced towards Mo Yushi's forehead. Kai. The poison vine pierced Mo Yushi's forehead. Instantly, the tip turned black, and a large amount of poison was about to enter Mo Yushi's forehead. Poison? Qing Long and the others' expressions changed. Trust me. Yang Chuan shouted. I trust you. Mo Yushi's eyes flashed with a trace of gentleness. Creak. The black poison completely penetrated Mo Yushi's forehead. Mo Yushi did not resist and allowed the poison to enter her body. Gradually, Mo Yushi closed her eyes as if she had fainted. Boom. Phoenix's power shattered the vines. Swish. Mo Yushi was pulled towards the poisoner. Keikakik, he fainted from poison? Using poison in front of me, the poisoner? What a joke. Poisoner laughed. Prince Yang, what are you doing? Rosefinch and the others exclaimed. Qing Long rushed towards Mo Yushi, but a large number of phoenix blocked Qing Long's path. Roar. Release the Saintess. Qing Long roared. Qing Long, come back. Yang Chuan shouted. Qing Long rushed forward a few times, but he was forced to retreat by the large number of phoenix. When he retreated and saw Yang Chuan, he shouted, Prince Yang, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why did you poison the Saintess? Qing Long, Bai Long, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu all glared at Yang Chuan. I'm protecting Yushi. Yang Chuan shook his head. Ah! Poisoner's scream suddenly came from afar. Mo Yushi was pulled in front of the poisoner, but Mo Yushi's body emitted a faint black light. Injure my primordial spirit. What kind of poison is this? Poisoner exclaimed. For a moment, Poisoner didn't dare to get close to Mo Yushi. That is. Qing Long and the others were slightly stunned. The situation was unfavorable to us. We couldn't save Yushi at that time. It was too late, so I resorted to this. Yang Chuan said with a gloomy expression. Ah! It's called Mang God poison. It's very obscure and weak, so it can be easily expelled from the body. However, if someone is willing to let the poison enter the body and let the poison reside on their primordial spirit, the Mang God poison will absorb the person's primordial essence and catalyze a potent poison that corrodes the primordial spirit. It's like a mang in the body, so people don't dare to get close, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Like a mang in the body? Mang God poison? Qing Long and the others' expressions relaxed. Like a mang in the body. Although it hurts the primordial spirit, I can detoxify it in the future. I know what Poisoner wants to do with Yushi, Yang Chuan said with a gloomy expression. In the distance, Poisoner's skeletal claws turned black. Poison? There's a poison that I don't recognize, Poisoner said hatefully. Chapter 427. He coldly glanced at Yang Chuan. So what if she's poisonous? I can't extract her primordial spirit, but I can still use her, Poisoner said coldly. Taking a step, Poisoner suddenly left the Great Development Diagram and stood outside it. Suddenly, the power of the phoenix in all directions decreased a lot. Ang! Feng Yinyang's dragon clan quickly attacked. But soon, Poisoner used his magic power to place Mo Yushi in the center of the Great Development Diagram. Hum! A large amount of phoenixes will rushed over. Condense emptiness into reality, 10,000 phoenix cry. Poisoner stretched out his hand. Hum! 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 thousands of phoenixes will suddenly erupted from Mo Yushi's body. A large amount of phoenixes will that rushed towards Mo Yushi were instantly controlled by Poisoner. As the 10,000 phoenix cry, it suppressed the 1,000 dragon clan. Rumble. The rolling phoenix came, and the entire derivation world became the world of Phoenix in the blink of an eye. The dragon clan retreated again and again, and was forced into a corner. Mo Yushi floated above the great development diagram like a puppet, and was used by Poisoner to summon countless phoenix. Saintus! Qing Long and others exclaimed. What should we do? What should we do? Rosefinch and others exclaimed. 10,000 phoenix cry. Poisoner used Mo Yushi as a puppet, and instantly controlled the situation. Keik. Although more than half of the phoenix is gone, it's more than enough to destroy you. Poisoner smiled proudly. Poisoner, well done. An elder of the Great Winged Heaven School laughed. Quick, you guys take out the treasure that the Lord wants, I'll take that feng shui master's body. Poisoner shouted excitedly. The myriad phoenixes cried in unison, besieging Feng Yin-Yang. Boom. Suddenly, there was another earth-shattering sound. At the edge of the derivative world, there was a dazzling golden light. Rumble. The entire derivative world was shaking. The golden light seemed to be shooting in from outside the derivative world, like a golden sun, squeezing into the derivative world. Buzz. A golden sun rushed into the derivative world battlefield. 60 cultivators stood in the golden sun. The golden sun was like a huge cover. The cover instantly expanded, covering a large number of mountains and rivers in the blink of an eye. It occupied 1/5 of the derivative worlds. Outside the shield, a large number of phoenix could not enter. The great sun merit heavenly formation of the great Jiao Holy Land? Poisoner cried out in shock from afar. Holy Sun! Sichuan exclaimed in surprise. Guu Holy Sun led a group of powerful cultivators into the derivative world battlefield. As soon as the group of cultivators entered the derivative world, they immediately looked around and looked at the huge Jade Mountain. Hey you're fast. Poison Master exclaimed. Can't take it, there is a world inside the Jade Mountain. Shinkuan Kuroha Jiaohu said. Go in. Shinkuan Kuroha shouted. Yes. Shinkuan Kuroha, along with the 5 elders, stepped into the Jade Mountain. The 6 of them disappeared instantly and entered the inner world of the Jade Mountain. Guu Holy Sun's face sank. Poisoner! Yang Chuan suddenly shouted. Poisoner looked over. As long as you can't kill all of us here, if you dare to hurt Mo Yushi, the great Jiao Holy Land will exterminate your entire clan. Yang Chuan shouted at Poisoner in the distance. With Yang Chuan's shout, Poisoner's face suddenly changed. His original unscrupulous attitude was gone. His original plan was to kill everyone here, including Mo Yushi. After that, who would know that he killed Mo Yushi? But it was different now. There were so many people here, could he kill them all? Especially that Guu Holy Sun, he was an expert of the Middle Emptiness realm. Yushi. Young Jigu, who was beside Guu Holy Sun, exclaimed. Guu Holy Sun looked around coldly. He looked at the 2 feng shui masters on the mountain, at Yang Chuan, and at Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi is just poisoned, she won't die. That skeleton won't dare to do anything. Guu Holy Sun said lightly. Oh. Yang Jigu nodded with furrowed brows. At this time, Yang Jijio also looked at Yushan. Is this the treasure? Yang Jigu's expression changed slightly. Perfected masters, follow me, Guu said in a deep voice. Yes. The 8 men behind Guu replied. The rest of the Immortal State warriors, stay here and follow Sichuan and Ziwen to stop anyone from entering. Guu Holy Sun said coldly. Yes. The 50 Immortal State warriors replied. Guu looked at Sichuan and then at Yang Chuan. A murderous look flashed in his eyes. Yes. Sichuan nodded. Then, Guu led the 8 perfected masters to the Jade Mountain. I'm coming too. Yang Jigu shouted. Chapter 428. Outside the derivative world. The Emperor stood at the top of a mountain and watched a sun-like cover enter the derivative world. Guu Holy Sun was inside the cover. Is this place really in ruins? The emperor frowned. The heavenly jade palace is open. Even demons and monsters are coming out, the emperor said coldly. As he spoke, he walked toward the derivative world. In the derivative world, Guu Holy Sun flew out of the great solar merit sky formation with 8 immortals. I'll go too, Yang Jigu shouted. Guu Holy Sun frowned slightly but did not stop them. The 10 of them flew toward the Jade Mountain. But at this moment, even though Poisoner had thousands of phoenix, he did not dare to attack the 10 of them. He allowed them to fly close and enter the Jade Mountain. They disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yang Chuan frowned and thought. At this moment, 2 sharp eyes suddenly turned to him. Ziwen and Zichuan. The 2 of them looked at Yang Chuan coldly. Yang Chuan felt something and looked at them immediately. There were 2 virtual realm experts and nearly 50 god state experts in the great solar merit sky formation. They were all under Guu Holy Sun's command. Yang Chuan, you can't escape this time. Zichuan sneered. Holy Sun ordered to kill Yang Chuan. Ziwen also ordered. The group of immortal state warriors looked at Yang Chuan curiously. Everyone saw clearly that he was at LV9 of the essence state. Was he at such a low cultivation? Did he have to use so much power? Young master, go quickly. You guys protect the young master and leave. Qing Long shouted. Yes. Bai Long and others replied. Meow, this is bad. Meow was worried. Boom. There was a loud noise in the distance and a white light suddenly shot into the formation. Who? In the middle of Yang Chuan, Ziwen, and the others, a white figure suddenly appeared. Emperor? Yang Chuan asked in surprise. As soon as the emperor entered, he immediately scanned his surroundings. In the end, he looked at the Jade Mountain. The heavenly Jade Palace is open. Did anyone go in? The emperor looked at Yang Chuan and asked. Yes. Yang Chuan nodded. En. The emperor took a step forward and was about to rush towards the Jade Mountain. Who? Ziwen suddenly appeared in front of the emperor. Who are you? Ziwen asked coldly. Scram. The emperor said coldly. A mere chi state cultivator dares to ask me to leave. Humph. Ziwen coldly snorted, and a powerful aura shot out. The emperor raised his head and looked at Ziwen coldly. Ziwen's aura couldn't suppress the emperor at all. Sheeing. The emperor unsheathed his bronze blade and looked at Ziwen coldly. The Holy Sun has said that no one is allowed to enter. I think you are tired of living. Ziwen reached out his hand and attacked. Boom. The blade and the palm collided, and the surroundings shook violently. The palm of an abyssal realm cultivator was so powerful that it pushed the emperor back 100 meters. I think you are tired of living, the emperor said coldly. On the other side, Yang Chuan's eyes lit up. He saw an opportunity. Qing Long. Stop Zichuan. Yang Chuan said. Ah. Child, what are you going to do? Qing Long was surprised. I need to break through as soon as possible, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Sheeing. Yang Chuan pulled out the Jade Emperor's sword from his back. Meow. Meow. Meow was confused. Bai Long, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, take care of Meow. Don't let anything happen to Meow. Yang Chuan handed over Meow. Ah. Child, what are you doing? Rosefinch was surprised. Meow. Meow also cried. Yang Chuan handed over Meow and said, you only have one chance. Listen to me and do as I say. Chapter 429. After that, Yang Chuan rushed out. The immortal state warriors looked at Yang Chuan in shock. Is he crazy? Yang Chuan is rushing towards me. Thump, thump, thump. Yang Chuan's heart suddenly beat faster. Boom. Yang Chuan's aura suddenly surged, and a large amount of blood mist swirled around his body. Yang Chuan's long hair suddenly turned bright red, and his blood-red eyes carried a sinister smile as he looked at the great solar merit heavenly formation. TSK, TSK, TSK. Who wants to kill me? Come on. Yang Chuan said arrogantly. Humph. Zichuan rushed over. Boom. Qing Long stood in front of Zichuan. Suddenly, It became a group of immortal state warriors facing Yang Chuan. "You're just an essence state warrior. How dare you?" An immortal state warrior rushed out of the formation. He rushed towards Yang Chuan with a broadsword in his hand. "Star power, come on," Yang Chuan shouted to the sky. Boom! A ray of starlight pierced through the derivative world and shrouded Yang Chuan. Rumble! Yang Chuan was surrounded by gravel. A powerful force spread out and pressed towards the immortal state warrior opposite him. The immortal state warrior's face changed. "Are you afraid?" Yang Chuan laughed. There was a light of provocation in his eyes. The arrogant blood demon was here again. "Humph, you're courting death." The immortal state warrior approached him in an instant. Boom! The sword and the broadsword collided. A huge airflow spread out around them. How is it possible? He's just an essence state warrior. How can he block the power of an immortal state warrior? The immortal state warriors in the Great Solar Merit Formation exclaimed. Roar! The immortal state warrior exerted more strength. Sword 19, whoosh! A ray of bloodlight shot up to the sky. The immortal state warrior was cut in half from his chest. His internal organs flew out. A divine realm expert died on the spot. "Am I seeing things?" The immortal state warriors in the distance exclaimed. The Jade Emperor's sword extracted the blood chi of the God Realm expert and poured a portion of it into Yang Chuan's body. TSK TSK TSK, Deity Realm's blood chi is exuberant, Yang Chuan said with a laugh. As he spoke, Yang Chuan continued to walk towards the Great Solar Virtuous Heavenly Formation. "Kill him! Kill him!" The group of Divine Realm warriors was enraged. Immediately, 5 of them surrounded him. Good timing. Yang Chuan laughed. He swung his sword and rushed forward. On the other side, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, and the others were at a loss. Was this for real? Emperor turned his head to look at Yang Chuan, then raised his head to look at the huge pillar of starlight that enveloped Yang Chuan. Will of the stars? A descendant of Yang Zizai? Not bad. The Emperor gave a simple evaluation. Star power, come. The Emperor also roared to the sky. Buzz. Another pillar of stars pierced through the derivative world and shrouded the Emperor. Bang. Suddenly, numerous stone spikes in the shape of swords emerged from the ground, protecting the Emperor and facing Ziwan. Numerous sword chi surrounded the Emperor as if he was shrouded in a storm of sword chi. At this moment, all the experts in the derivative world were at a loss. Will of the stars? That was a profound secret method that could only be mastered after reaching the virtual realm. Looking for the natal star? Even Ziwan and Zichuan were not qualified to find it at this moment. But these 2 people? Were they seeing things? Were they only at the essence state and the chi state? How did they find the natal star? Sword 19, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. For a moment, tens of thousands of blood-red sword chi shot out. Yang Chuan was also surrounded by a storm of sword chi. The Jade Emperor's sword in his hand kept colliding with the swords of the 5 Divine Realm experts. Clang, clang, clang. Yang Chuan's sword was very fast, so fast that the group of Divine State warriors was a little flustered. Boom. Chapter 430. Smoke and dust rose from where the battle took place. Ah, impossible. God, he is crazy. Help. The 5 immortal state Jiaohu were fighting in the dust. The battle that was supposed to be a foregone conclusion suddenly became strange. Yang Chuan had the upper hand. That was impossible. Let me check it out. 2 more immortal state warriors rushed into Yang Chuan's battle. Clang, clang, clang. Yang Chuan's battle never stopped. In the distance, Bai Long, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu were confused. What should we do? What should we do? Rosefinch asked anxiously. Let's wait. Young Master is too different from ordinary people, Bai Long said with a frown. And that person, Young Master knows too many people, Rosefinch said with a frown. Not far away, the Emperor drew his long saber and slashed at Ziwan fiercely. Bam! Ziwan was smashed into the ground and his long sword broke. No, no, you are only in the chi state. It is impossible. Ziwan shouted. Sovereign NA drew star energy, slashing with each slash faster than the last. Wen immediately retreated little by little. He was in a mess. On the other hand, Sichuan suppressed Qinglong, but he was able to stall Sichuan. Looking at the battle, Sichuan was very anxious. You idiots, kill Yang Chuan first. Go, 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 Sichuan shouted. The Immortal State warriors in the Great Solar Merit Sky Formation raised their eyebrows and flew out of the formation to attack Yang Chuan. 20th Blade. Bam! Ah! In the dust, screams came out. A large number of broken limbs flew up into the sky. Organs and intestines spilled out. Bang! When the dust settled, Yang Chuan, shrouded in starlight, stared coldly at the approaching Immortal State warriors. There were 7 more dismembered corpses on the ground. The Jade Emperor's sword was bright red. Yang Chuan could not stop smiling evilly. What a thick blood aura. Again. Haha. Yang Chuan rushed toward the 40 over Divine Realm experts. Let's attack together. Let's attack together. The group of Divine Realm experts also shouted in fear. Rumble. An even larger scale battle had begun. On the 2 platforms. Poisoner also saw the fighting going on around him, but he didn't let Phoenix go over. Instead, he continued to surround and kill Feng Yin-Yang. Yin, Ang. The dragon and Phoenix collided, and the battle continued. Qinglong, get out of my way. Sichuan shouted angrily. Don't even think about it. Qinglong struggled to stand in front of Sichuan. Ah, bastard. 20th Blade. Boom. Yang Chuan's battlefield was filled with a large number of dismembered corpses and limbs. Yang Chuan had turned into the blood demon and absorbed the will of the stars. With the amazing swordsmanship from his previous life, he was like a fish in the sea, killing a group of Immortal State warriors. Boom. Yang Chuan was sent flying by the group of Immortal State warriors. Miao, Yang Chuan. Miao Jiaohu shouted. Yang Chuan broke a few trees, but he wasn't frustrated at all. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "Is that all you have?" Again, with a sense of madness, Yang Chuan once again charged into the group of Divine State warriors. The Jade Emperor's sword moved close to the ground and made a piercing sound. The killing began again. You are courting death. Kill him. The group of Immortal State warriors shouted. Phew, phew, phew. The group of Immortal State warriors charged toward Chen Fan. They were like a pack of wolves pouncing on a tiger. Meow. Meow covered its eyes and didn't dare to look. On the other side, the Emperor's eyes were filled with killing intent. Fish. Under the domineering saber technique, the saber cut off Wen's left hand. Ah. Wen held his hand in pain and looked at the Emperor in horror. Chapter 431. Bam! Yang Chuan was once again sent flying in the midst of the fierce battle. After crashing into a small mountain, Yang Chuan flipped over and got up. There was some blood on his cheeks and the sleeve of his left arm was completely burnt. His left hand was blackened by the smoke. Yang Chuan wiped off the blood and grinned at the 30 Immortal State warriors. My divine fire poison has entered his body. Why is he fine? He is a demon. Just now, I was so close, so close. Ah, he is here again. A group of Divine Realm warriors screamed. Yang Chuan raised his sword and charged at them again. Whoosh. He threw out a vine whip with his left hand and wrapped it around an Immortal State warrior. The Immortal State warrior was pulled closer to Yang Chuan. 19th Blade. Bang. The Immortal State warrior was cut in half. Kill him. Bam. Once again, a group of wolves pounced on a tiger, killing each other savagely. Bang. Yang Chuan purposely borrowed the force and was sent flying. He took a deep breath. At this moment, Yang Chuan's chest and back were covered with knife and sword wounds. There were only 20 Immortal State warriors left. I can't kill him? That's impossible. Why can't I kill him? My sword has pierced his chest. He should have lost a lot of energy. Why does he still have so much energy? The blood chi and energy of the Jade Emperor's sword continued to flow into Yang Chuan's body. Some of his wounds were healing at a visible rate. Ha 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 ha, almost there, almost there. Super Yang Chuan excitedly rushed forward again. Ah, guys, don't hold back. If we don't give it our all, we will be finished. The Immortal State warriors screamed. Bang! 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 At this moment, Yang Chuan's character was like a madman. He fought desperately. His body was stabbed a few more times, but the effect was obvious. Soon, another 10 Divine Realm warriors became dry corpses. Roar! Yang Chuan roared and his energy surged. The remaining 10 Immortal State warriors looked at Yang Chuan in horror. No, no! The 10 Immortal State warriors ran away in fear. They didn't dare to fight with Yang Chuan anymore. Everyone had already been killed to the point of cowering. This is crazy sick. The 10 Immortal State warriors kept their minds blank as they looked at the Immortal State warriors. 40 Immortal State warriors were turned into mummies. Is he at the Essence State? An Immortal State warrior said. Fuck the Essence State. We shouldn't have come. Is. Brother. Is. The 10 Immortal State warriors were scared and sad. This time, Yang Chuan didn't rush over. He stood on the top of a mountain. Roar. Boom. A loud sound came from Yang Chuan's body as a violent airflow blew in all directions. Yang Chuan's energy surged again. LV10 of the Essence State? He made a breakthrough. An Immortal State warrior shouted. How can he make a breakthrough with such a serious injury? LV9 of the Essence State is already so bad. Now he is at LV10? Who said he is at the Essence State? I will kill him. The group of Immortal State warriors ran away from Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan didn't look at them anymore. LV10 of the Essence State? Finally, he reached LV10. Ziwen looked around. Under the king's long saber, he kept retreating. His hair was disheveled and one of his arms was broken. He was covered in blood and was struggling. Chapter 432. You want me to die? I won't let you have it easy either. Qi reversal poison. Ziwen roared. As he roared, he stimulated his body's qi and blood, causing his strength to skyrocket. Humph. You've overestimated yourself. King's long blade once again brought out a superstorm and slashed toward Ziwen. On the other side, Zichuan was facing Qinglong. More than half of the Immortal State warriors were killed and Ziwen used qi reversal poison. Zichuan was furious. Go to hell. He swung his long sword at Qinglong. Qinglong was covered with wounds and his long sword was barely holding on. Don't even think about running away. Qi reversal poison. Qinglong smiled bitterly. Qinglong also tried his best to stimulate all of his potential and burst out with unprecedented power. The two swords collided. Boom. The violent airflow blew in all directions, causing the mountains to collapse and dust to rise to the sky. Phew. Zichuan waved his hand and the dust cleared. Zichuan spat out blood and leaned on the ground with his long sword, panting heavily. Apparently, Qinglong's desperate attack had hurt Zichuan's foundation. Qinglong was covered in blood and lay in a pool of blood far away, unable to move. Brother! Bai Long and the others screamed. Phew! Yang Chuan ran to Qinglong and stared coldly at Zichuan. Ha ha ha, Yang Chuan, let's see what you can do now. Zichuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered. Bai Long, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, come here. Yang Chuan shouted. Phew! The three of them quickly flew over with Miao. Miao looked at Yang Chuan, who was covered in blood. Sadness flashed across her eyes, but she didn't say anything. 40 Immortal State warriors? It took the Holy Sun a lot of effort to recruit them. You killed them all by yourself. Even if I cut you into 1,000 pieces, you won't be able to atone for your sins. Zichuan walked over step by step. Master Zichuan, you must avenge my senior brother. Master Zichuan, my junior brother died a horrible death. 10 Divine Realm cultivators gathered around and said sadly, I will take my revenge. They must all die. Zichuan walked over step by step. At this moment, Qinglong had already lost his ability to fight. Yang Chuan was still covered with injuries after killing God Realm warriors. How could he deal with a virtual realm warrior? Young master, I'm sorry. I couldn't stop him. Qinglong said painfully. It's enough. It's enough. Yang Chuan shook his head. Bai Long, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, are you all in the complete divine realm? Yang Chuan looked at the three of them. Yes, it's a pity that you are all in the divine realm, Bai Long said with a pale face. I think so too. Qing Long is in the virtual realm. You can't be too far behind. In this case, let's activate the heavens tribulation. Let's go through it together, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Ah, I don't have the ability to go through it now, Xuanwu said worriedly. Listen to me. Activate it. I will help you. Yang Chuan shook his head. Bang. Yang Chuan's aura suddenly soared. Outside the derivative world, dark clouds suddenly gathered. Yang Chuan activated the heavens tribulation first. Rumble. The thunder kept roaring. Although they were separated by the death chi of the derivative world, there was still a strong pressure. What? The momentum of the second heavens tribulation? Sichuan looked up at the sky in surprise. Rumble. Rosefinch, Bai Long, and Xuanwu also activated their own momentum. Their momentum soared to the sky. Suddenly, there were rolling clouds above Yang Chuan's tribulation cloud again. No, it's not the second heaven. It's the fourth heaven. Are they crazy? Are they going through the tribulation? Sichuan exclaimed. Quick, kill them, Sichuan shouted to the divine realm warriors. Chapter 433. But at this moment, those divine realm warriors were terrified by Yang Chuan and didn't dare to step forward. Idiot, only one person can go through the heavenly tribulation. If there are too many people around, the heavenly tribulation will increase its power and destroy the people around, Sichuan shouted. But those divine realm warriors didn't dare to go to Yang Chuan. Bastard! Sichuan shouted angrily and shot towards Yang Chuan. It's too late, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Boom tilde 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 boom tilde tilde boom tilde 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 boom tilde tilde tilde. Almost 1,000 thunderbolts fell from the sky and broke through the death chi in the derivative world where Yang Chuan was and exploded. Almost 1,000 thunderbolts danced like wild snakes and rushed towards them with great destructive power. Yang Chuan and his team were the first to bear the brunt of the thunderbolts. Sichuan and the 10 divine realm warriors were also hit by the thunderbolts. Ah! All the divine realm warriors shouted. Sichuan also raised his sword to face the sky. His cultivation was the highest among them and he attracted the most thunderbolts except for those who were going through the heavenly tribulation. The power of the thunderbolts fell like a waterfall. They put their personal grudges aside and faced the thunderbolts together. When Bai Long, Rosefinch and Xuanwu were about to face the thunderbolts, Yang Chuan suddenly stood in front of them. Roar tilde 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 tilde. Yang Chuan roared to the sky. With a loud roar, the hundreds of lightning bolts that were heading towards Yang Chuan's group suddenly gathered together and shot towards Yang Chuan's mouth as if they were being pulled by a huge force. Boom! The heavenly tribulation and the heavenly tribulation finally gathered in Yang Chuan's mouth. Oh! Bai Long's eyes almost popped out. What did I see? Rosefinch was stunned. Young master is swallowing the heavenly tribulation, Xuanwu murmured. The 4 of them were going through their tribulations. The lightning did not stop for even a moment as it rained down crazily. Round after round, they rose and fell. Yang Chuan's mouth was like a lightning rod, absorbing the thousands of lightning bolts coming from all directions. Rumble. Rumble. The world seemed to be pitch black, and Yang Chuan instantly became the focus of everyone. On the other side, Sichuan, who had been injured but had to withstand a large amount of lightning, was in a difficult situation. While he was fighting against the heavenly thunder, he inadvertently glanced in Yang Chuan's direction. What? Sichuan was dumbfounded. Perhaps this was the most shocking thing he had ever seen in his life. Yang Chuan was swallowing countless heavenly thunders. Impossible. Sichuan rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Boom. 3 or 4 bolts of heavenly thunder blew up Sichuan's hair and clothes. Sichuan had no choice but to face the heavenly thunder with all his heart. But at this moment, how could he have the heart to face the heavenly thunder? Was this a joke? Sichuan was in a difficult situation, and the 10 immortal state warriors were even more embarrassed. Yang Chuan had exhausted them physically and mentally. When the heavenly thunder fell, they all wanted to escape as fast as they could. But no matter how fast they were, how could they be faster than the heavenly thunder? They had been targeted by the heavenly thunder. How could they escape? The 10 immortal state warriors were completely disappointed. On the other side, after forcing Ziwen into a corner, the emperor turned his head and looked at the sky. Then he looked at the spectacular scene of Yang Chuan swallowing the heavenly thunder and was a bit stunned. Yang Chuan? I underestimated you, the emperor said solemnly. However, the emperor only glanced at Ziwen and then focused on him again. Million knives in reverse. The emperor swung his saber and thousands of knife chi rushed toward Ziwen. Ziwen was suddenly involved in thousands of knife chi. The two feng shui masters had been staring at the battle in the distance. Looking at the scene of Yang Chuan swallowing the heavenly thunder, they suddenly found that in this derivative world, Yang Chuan was the master, and they were just foils. Thousands of phoenix and nearly 1,000 dragons were just foils in front of the gorgeous heavenly thunder. No, the gorgeous heavenly thunder swallowing. Are you kidding? Can the heavenly thunder be swallowed like this? Poisoner was in a daze. Chapter 434. Crackle. Yang Chuan's paws emitted a large amount of thunder and lightning. The thunder and lightning came out of his body and circled around Yang Chuan's body. Roar. Yang Chuan kept swallowing the thunder and lightning. Bai Long, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu helped Qing Long to stand up slowly. Phew. When the thunder and lightning stopped, Yang Chuan pursed his lips. He turned his head and looked at Rosefinch and the other two with thunder and lightning all over his body. You have to do the last round by yourselves. Yes, thank you, young master, everyone said gratefully. It was the last round. This was the baptism of the heavenly tribulation. The three of them had been accumulating strength for a long time, so they could go through it with all their strength. Rumble. Another round of thunder and lightning fell from the sky. Boom. Silver snakes danced wildly and thunder fell like waterfalls. Not far away, the 10 divine realm warriors were dying. Sichuan was in a mess even though he was in the virtual realm. Yang Chuan ignored the others. More and more thunder and lightning surrounded Yang Chuan. Gradually, the thunder and lightning coiled around Yang Chuan and lifted him up slowly. Rumble. Yang Chuan's body was getting higher and higher. He swallowed part of the thunder and lightning and soared to the sky. Rumble. A large amount of thunder and lightning fell directly to the crowd. Bai Long, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu faced the last baptism of the heavenly tribulation with their fists. Miao stood beside Qing Long and looked at Yang Chuan who was floating in the sky. A trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. No one noticed Miao's sadness. Anyway, Miao was very quiet at the moment. Rumble. The last round of thunder and lightning fell. The crack in the derivative world was slowly covered by the death chi in the sky. People could no longer see the tribulation clouds in the sky outside the derivative world. At the same time, Yang Chuan also came out of the derivative world. He flew in the sky and still roared. Roar. Rumble. The second tribulation cloud was pulled down by Yang Chuan. As Yang Chuan opened his mouth, the tribulation clouds surged into his mouth. If the people in the derivative world saw it, they would definitely be amazed. As Yang Chuan roared, the rolling tribulation clouds, just like the first level of tribulation clouds in the past, completely entered Yang Chuan's body. Not enough, not enough, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Raising his head, Yang Chuan looked up once more. Fourth stage tribulation clouds. Even higher up in the sky, the tribulation clouds of Rosefinch, Xuanwu, Bai Long, and the others had yet to disperse. Isn't it too early? No, I have super divine abilities, I have the will of the stars. I still have the will of the Emperor True Dragon from my previous life. Yang Chuan's face darkened. Buzz. Far away in the starry sky, the North Star shone even brighter. Star power surged into Yang Chuan's body. Roar. Opening his mouth, Yang Chuan stared at the fourth stage tribulation clouds and roared. Rumble. The fourth stage tribulation clouds suddenly rolled non-stop. It seemed to be angry at the provocation of the ants below. Swallowing the sky. Yang Chuan roared. Rumble. A large amount of thunder and lightning struck down. Yang Chuan faced the thunder and lightning. In the roar, the thunder and lightning rolled. Yang Chuan was surrounded by starlight and blood mist. Roar. A dragon roar soared into the sky. Rumble. Yang Chuan opened his mouth to absorb the thunder and lightning, and kept sucking in the fourth stage tribulation clouds. The tribulation clouds struggled, but slowly moved over under Yang Chuan's efforts. Rumble. The tribulation clouds came to Yang Chuan's mouth. Roar. Yang Chuan absorbed fiercely. Crackle. Yang Chuan's flesh body was trembling violently, and countless thunder and lightning exploded in his body. Rumble. The thunder and lightning kept exploding, as if to blow up Yang Chuan's flesh body. Chapter 435. Roar. The true dragons will solidify Yang Chuan's body, preventing it from exploding. Rumble. Yang Chuan's entire body was trembling. His clothes were charred, and his skin was constantly charred. He felt like he was about to be electrocuted. Whoosh. He swallowed the tribulation cloud in one gulp. The fourth tribulation cloud was also swallowed. Buzz. Yang Chuan closed his pores to prevent the lightning from leaking out. Go to my Shenting acupoint. Yang Chuan glared with bloodshot eyes. Rumble. Yang Chuan's body exploded. Countless lightning bolts and tribulation clouds surged into his heavenly court acupoint, merging with the black clouds that were swallowed last time. More and more black clouds gathered. Suddenly, it expanded, and endless lightning bolts exploded in his Shenting acupoint. It was as if the Shenting acupoint was about to explode. Roar. A golden dragon roared. The true dragons will fiercely compress the endless lightning bolts. Whoosh. The lightning bolts were compressed and immediately shrank, as if they had become smaller. Boom. The tribulation cloud exploded again, and the golden dragon compressed again. One explosion and one contraction, a total of 361 times. Yang Chuan felt like his body and mind were being tortured. Finally, an hour later, everything was over. The golden dragon was exhausted, but the tribulation cloud in his Shenting acupoint had changed. It turned green, and a vigorous vitality emerged. Green? Shouldn't my birth chart be golden? Why did it turn green? Yang Chuan was shocked. Maybe it's because of my reincarnation. However, no matter what, I finally mastered the heaven-devouring Daoist scripture, the cultivation technique I obtained from the sky-burying coffin in my previous life. Using the heaven-devouring poison in the heaven-devouring Daoist scripture, I finally completed the first stage. A heavenly tribulation of my own. A heavenly tribulation of my own. Since it's green, let's call it the azure thundercloud. Yang Chuan sighed. Ignoring his charred body, Yang Chuan looked at a mountain in the distance and stared. Boom. A bolt of heavenly lightning appeared out of nowhere and struck the mountain with a loud bang. Rumble. The peak of the tall mountain exploded. The power of the heavenly thunder of the second heaven? It seems like it's limited by my cultivation base. Depending on the number of heavenly tribulations I've passed, I can control the heavenly lightning in the heavens. As for my clear sky thundercloud, it only consumes a little and can be recovered in a breath's time. Yang Chuan analyzed in deep thought. Heaven-devouring Tao scripture. There were a total of 9 stages, and one could control the heavenly tribulation at the first stage. What will the 9th stage be like? Yang Chuan's eyes flashed with anticipation. In the Qi state, one could release Qi from their body, form a wall of Qi, or control some Qi to float themselves. This was also the reason why Qi Jing warriors were able to float in the air. Slowly sinking, he quickly entered the derivative world again. Bastard, Rosefinch, Xuanwu, the Holy Sun will avenge us. Zichuan's sorrowful voice came from the derivative world. Rosefinch and Xuanwu were chasing after Zichuan, who was seriously injured at the moment. Boom. Zichuan rushed out of the derivative world. The two looked at each other and finally didn't chase after him. On the other side, Ziwen had already died. The emperor stood quietly beside Ziwen's body, as if he was waiting for Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan entered the derivative world with his charred body. Meow. Meow rushed over worriedly. I'm fine. Meow, give me a set of clothes. The black parts on my body are dead skin. Yang Chuan smiled. With a gentle tear, the charred skin on his arm was torn off, revealing the white and tender skin inside. Meow. Meow quickly poured out a set of clothes from the small felt hat. Whoosh. Yang Chuan waved his hand, and smoke covered the clothes. Chapter 436. Soon, Yang Chuan finished changing his clothes. He waved his hand, and the dust around him cleared away. There was a layer of burnt skin on the ground. Yang Chuan even tore off his original red hair and scalp, but a new scalp grew out from the inside. There was even black hair that was more than an inch long. After swallowing the lightning, Yang Chuan's super theurgy was suppressed, and he returned to his original appearance, but now his hair was cropped. Meow, Yang Chuan, your hair. Meow jumped onto Yang Chuan's shoulder. It's okay, it will grow back soon. Yang Chuan comforted. But Meow was still in a bad mood. Young master, did you just swallow the lightning? Bai Long was still in disbelief. Why? Yang Chuan laughed. What's your level now? Bai Long asked anxiously. The scene of Yang Chuan swallowing the lightning was too fierce. If he did that, he would have been killed. After the tribulation, aren't you all at the first stage of Qi Jing? Yang Chuan asked. First stage of Qi Jing? Bai Long was in disbelief. Yes. Yang Chuan nodded. Bai Long. Vermilion Bird and Black Tortoise, who had just rushed back. Everyone was confused. First stage of Qi Jing? What a joke. Those immortal state warriors are all dead, only Sichuan escape. Rosefinch said. Young master, thank you so much. We are all in the emptiness realm. Although we are only in the lower emptiness realm, it's all thanks to you. Xuanwu said solemnly. Yang Chuan nodded and looked at Mo Yushi, who was like a puppet in the distance. Young master, can we save the saintess now? Qing Long walked over with his injuries. Not yet. Poisoner controls too many phoenixes. Most of those phoenixes are at the lower emptiness realm. Only those at the middle emptiness realm can forcefully rescue Yushi. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Then what should we do? Qing Long asked anxiously. The four of you stay here and protect Yushi. Remember, don't act rashly. That poisoner doesn't dare to hurt Yushi now. As long as Yushi doesn't die, everything will be easy, Yang Chuan said. Yes. The four of them replied solemnly. Young master, what about you? Qing Long asked. I'll go to Jade Mountain and look for an opportunity. At least, I'll find a way to disrupt their plans and make Poisoner retreat helplessly. If he escapes, the derivative world will end. At that time, it will be the best time to save Yushi. Don't miss it. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Yes. The four of them replied. Yang Chuan. The emperor shouted not far away. Yang Chuan frowned and looked at the emperor. Originally, I was going to go in alone. Now I've changed my mind. You're qualified to go with me, the emperor said in a deep voice. Go with you. Yang Chuan was puzzled. You're the descendant of Yang Zizai. You should have a share of everything in the Immortal Sanctuary. Heavenly Jade Palace was originally brought by my father and Yang Zizai. You're qualified to have a share of the inheritance. Come with me, the emperor said in a deep voice. Yang Chuan's expression flickered for a while. Finally, he nodded solemnly and said, Okay. Meow. Meow jumped on Yang Chuan's shoulder. Only you can go with me, the emperor shook his head and said. Meow. Meow meowed. Meow, wait for me outside. Yang Chuan advised. Okay. Meow nodded very obediently this time. That's the great solar merit heaven formation that GUU brought in. It's a merit formation. It doesn't block living people, but it targets the virtual things in the feng shui formation. If Poisoner sends Phoenix to attack you, hide in the great solar merit heaven formation, Yang Chuan said. Yes. Qing Long and the others nodded. Yang Chuan followed the emperor and quickly walked to the front of Jade Mountain. Let's go. Yang Chuan was about to step in. The emperor shook his head and said, Heavenly Jade Palace, it's not like this. Oh. You're the descendant of Yang Zizai, and I'm the descendant of my father. We'll use our blood to open the door and enter the deepest part, the emperor said. As he spoke, he forced out a trace of blood from his finger and pressed it on the Jade Mountain. Whoosh! The emperor was pulled into the Jade Mountain. Yang Chuan thought for a while and followed the emperor's method. He forced out his blood and pressed it on the Jade Mountain. Immediately, the Jade Mountain sucked his blood in. Chapter 437. Swish. Yang Chuan was instantly sucked into the Jade Mountain. It was as though he had passed through a passage of light. 5 breaths later, he suddenly stopped. Ta! His feet touched the ground. Buzz! The moment he touched the ground, he saw a huge energy sword slashing toward his face. Yang Chuan raised an eyebrow. Just as he was about to counterattack, a ripple suddenly appeared in front of him. The ripple blocked the power of the astral swords. Boom! The energy sword retreated. At this moment, Yang Chuan saw clearly that there was a huge cover around Yang Chuan. He was inside the cover. Inside the cover was a huge palace with the words Heavenly Jade Palace written on it. The emperor was walking toward the Heavenly Jade Palace. Outside the cover were Shinku and Kuroha, Jiyu Holy Sun, and the others. Outside the cover was a world with yellow light. There were mountains and rivers. 6 perfected masters were fighting against Shinku and Kuroha and the others. Jiyu Holy Sun, Yang Jigu, and 2 other perfected masters were surrounding the huge cover. The 2 perfected masters were attacking the cover continuously. Yang Chuan? It's Yang Chuan! Yang Jigu suddenly exclaimed. Yang Chuan? Impossible! Jiyu Holy Sun's expression changed. When they saw Yang Chuan, the battle outside stopped abruptly. The Emptiness Realm experts stared at Yang Chuan, who was inside the cover, in disbelief. We searched for a long time before we found him. The cover was broken for a long time. How did Yang Chuan get in? One of the perfected masters said with an unsightly expression. Yang Chuan? And the emperor? Yang Jigu looked at the 2 perfected masters in surprise. Yang Chuan looked at the crowd through the cover. Finally, he turned to look at Jiyu Holy Sun. Yang Chuan smiled at Jiyu Holy Sun. To Jiyu Holy Sun, this smile seemed to be mocking him. Bastard, attack. Attack together. Hey you guys attack together. I'll split the treasures with you. Jiyu shouted. Shinku and Kuroha looked at Jiyu Holy Sun. After a moment of silence, he finally nodded and said, all right. Hong tilde 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 tilde. The group of Emptiness Realm experts forcefully broke through the barrier. Yang Chuan turned his head and followed the emperor's footsteps. Yang Chuan, you bastard. Stop right there. Everything inside is mine. Mine. Jiyu roared angrily. However, Jiyu Holy Sun was isolated from the outside world and could not stop it. Boom. The emperor pushed open the gate of the Heavenly Jade Palace. Bang. Countless black lights suddenly rushed out of the Heavenly Jade Palace. They were not stopped by the barrier and flew out in all directions. The will of the Phoenix. Is this the will of the Netherworld Phoenix? The treasures of the Phoenix people are inside. Jiyu Holy Sun's expression changed. Come back, you bastards. Jiyu Holy Sun hit the barrier with his palm. The barrier only rippled a little. Buzz. Jiyu Holy Sun waved his sleeve and a huge coffin appeared. It was the sky-burying coffin that he had obtained in the Demon Wind mountain range. Open. The sky-burying coffin suddenly became 10,000 times bigger and smashed toward the barrier. Boom. The powerful aura forced the group of experts to retreat. Under the great force of the sky-burying coffin, a crack suddenly appeared on the barrier. Just as Jiyu Holy Sun was celebrating, the crack suddenly disappeared as if it had never existed. How is this possible? What kind of barrier is this? Shinku and Kuroha said in surprise. The stronger the barrier, the more precious the treasures of the Phoenix people are, Yang Jigu said. Yang Chuan and the emperor had already stepped into the barrier. Chapter 438. Bang. The door of the main hall slammed shut. Bastard, open. Jiyu Holy Sun roared angrily. The sky-burying coffin came crashing down again. Yang Chuan and the Emperor stepped into the heavenly jade palace. This is. Yang Chuan looked at the interior of the heavenly jade palace in surprise. The interior was filled with luminous pearls. In the center of the main hall, there was a huge phoenix that was 500 feet long. The phoenix was pitch black, surrounded by a large number of phoenix shadows. The black phoenix seemed to be in a deep sleep. As the two stepped into the main hall, the huge black phoenix seemed to wake up slowly. "Aunt Ming, is that you?" The Emperor suddenly called out. Black Phoenix turned her head, as if she was recalling something. Finally, she said with a kind voice, "Girl, you're finally here. Aunt Ming, my father is dead. My father is dead." The Emperor suddenly cried and ran to Black Phoenix. When he got close, the Emperor hugged Black Phoenix affectionately. But as soon as he hugged her, the Emperor let go and looked at Black Phoenix in surprise. "Aunt Ming, this," the Emperor said in surprise. "Oh, not only is your father dead, but my original body is also dead." Black Phoenix said bitterly. "How could this be? When we came here together, we were powerful enough to sweep the world. How could this happen? Aunt Ming, why are you also dead? What happened?" The Emperor said in a panic. "I don't know," Black Phoenix said bitterly. "Why don't you know? Who killed you? Who killed you?" The Emperor said anxiously. Shaking her head, Black Phoenix said bitterly, "I don't know what happened either. My original body used her essence chi clone to separate me. She didn't copy all of her memories to me. She kept a lot of her memories and left me the Supreme Dark Phoenix." "Supreme Dark Phoenix?" the Emperor said in surprise. "Yes, after my original body died, I should have been annihilated along with her ashes. Because of the Supreme Dark Phoenix and her original body's will, I survived until now. But when the Heavenly Jade Palace opened, a large amount of phoenixes will leaked out. I will dissipate soon." Black Phoenix smiled bitterly. "Why did this happen? Back then, we shouldn't have come here," the Emperor said sorrowfully. "Don't cry, perhaps they already knew before they died, thus they created this space and left your father's saber intent here. Perhaps my existence is to bring saber intent to you." The Black Phoenix smiled faintly. An azure blade of light suddenly appeared in front of the Black Phoenix. The inch-long saber hovered in the air and gave off an extremely sharp saber intent. Many people in the world covet the saber demon's saber intent. Unfortunately, other than the saber demon's bloodline, anyone who obtains it will only be demonized by the saber intent and become a puppet controlled by the saber intent. This was prepared for you. Even if someone else obtains it, they won't be able to use it, Black Phoenix said with a smile. "Father." The Emperor reached out with a complicated expression. Whoosh. The green saber light instantly entered the Emperor's body. Bang, bang, bang. Nearly 100 massive astral sabers appeared around the Emperor. These astral sabers were extremely sharp. Even someone as strong as Yang Chuan could barely hold on. "This is," Yang Chuan said in shock. "The saber demon's 98 saber intents. Girl, your father really put a lot of thought into this," Black Phoenix said bitterly. The Emperor was absorbing the saber demon's saber intent. Black Phoenix looked at Yang Chuan. "Who are you?" Black Phoenix asked indifferently. Chapter 439. According to what she told me, I should be Yang Zizai's descendant, Yang Chuan explained. Yang Zizai's descendant. That's right. Only their descendants can enter the Heavenly Jade Palace. It's a pity that Yang Zizai didn't leave anything for his descendant, Black Phoenix said. "Is that so?" Yang Chuan said with a look of pity. "Girl, you have obtained the saber demon's saber will. Since you are Yang Zizai's descendant, I can't let you return empty-handed. I'll give you this great dark yellow universal jade," Black Phoenix said after thinking for a while. "What about you?" Yang Chuan asked. "Me? It won't be long before I turn to dust. What's the point of keeping this jade?" Sigh. Black Phoenix sighed. "Thank you, Senior," Yang Chuan said solemnly. "However, without the support of Phoenix's will, this space will soon collapse." Black Phoenix said. "It's fine. I don't need this space." Yang Chuan nodded. Whoosh. Emperor opened his eyes and 2 rays of saber will shot out from his eyes. The saber will instantly retracted back into his body. Girl, how's your comprehension? Black Phoenix asked. My father's lifetime of knowledge is poured into this. It will take some time for me to fully comprehend it. Emperor shook his head. Hihi, that's good. I have something that I need your help with. Black Phoenix said. Aunt Ming, speak. Emperor said solemnly. Senior, speak. Yang Chuan also said solemnly. Before my original body died, he gave me the supreme Dark Phoenix. I'm about to be annihilated. Help me find another Dark Phoenix and pass it on to him. Black Phoenix said. As she spoke, a dark purple crystal appeared in front of Black Phoenix. It emitted a dark purple aura. Supreme Dark Phoenix. The Emperor frowned as he looked at the dark purple crystal. Yang Chuan's expression changed and he immediately said, Dark Phoenix? I know that outside this Jade Mountain, there is a Dark Phoenix. After the will of the Phoenix appeared, it was aimed at her. The Emperor frowned and looked at Yang Chuan, but he didn't say anything in the end. I've investigated her, and she does indeed have the bloodline of the Dark Phoenix. However, she also has the bloodline of the human race. She's a mixed blood. Black Phoenix shook her head. Mixed blood? Senior, no matter what, she has the bloodline of the Dark Phoenix race. I don't know what the Dark Phoenix venerate is, but I know that it is the most precious treasure of your Phoenix race. If a Dark Phoenix doesn't inherit it for a long time, countless variables will occur, just like what happened to you in the past. The Emperor and I can only say that we will do our best, but we may not necessarily be able to find another pure-blooded Dark Phoenix. What if? Yang Chuan explained. Sigh, yes. Who would have thought of what happened in the past? I believe that you will do your best, but sometimes, even if you do your best. Black Phoenix revealed a trace of bitterness. The Emperor frowned and looked at Yang Chuan, but he didn't refute. Go. Black Phoenix said softly. Ying. The crystal-like supreme Dark Phoenix suddenly turned into a dark purple phoenix and rushed out of the main hall. It rushed out of the main hall, out of the cover, brushed past the experts, and quickly flew out of the Jade Mountain. Ying tilde 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 tilde. The purple phoenix instantly rushed towards Mo Yushi, who was being used as a puppet. Hey! Poisoner was surprised when the dark purple phoenix rushed into Mo Yushi's body. Ah! She screamed in pain while unconscious. Rumble. Mo Yushi's body emitted a large amount of purple light. The purple light filled her entire body, and the poisonous light that was originally enveloping her body suddenly disappeared. Yang Chuan's man-god poison was quickly cleansed. A dark purple crystal suddenly appeared between Mo Yushi's eyebrows. It seemed to be embedded between her eyebrows, making Mo Yushi look even more noble and beautiful. Purple clouds surrounded Mo Yushi as the boundless phoenix will rushed over. Hum. 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 Tens of thousands of phoenixes cried out in unison, pouncing straight towards Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi's area instantly became chaotic. How could that be? How can this be? Poisoner was so shocked that he kept forming hand seals. However, the hand seals seemed to be useless at this moment. Impossible, how could this be? Poisoner pushed aside a large number of phoenix and rushed in. Ka. Just as they rushed in, a jade-like hand grabbed the Poison Master's skull. You're awake. Poisoner cried out in shock. Catcher. Poisoner's skull was instantly twisted off by the ice-cold Mo Yushi. Chapter 440. Within the heavenly Jade Palace, the venerable Dark Phoenix flew out. Black Phoenix immediately became dispirited. Boom. Suddenly, the heavenly Jade Palace shook violently. The barrier covering the heavenly Jade Palace shook violently. It's about to be broken, Holy Sun. A congratulatory voice came from the outside. Heaven burying coffin, break. Hong tilde 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 tilde. There was a loud explosion in the outside world as the barrier exploded in front of the huge sky-burying coffin. The entire heavenly Jade Palace crumbled under this tremendous force. The Black Phoenix spread its wings to protect the 2 people in the hall. He lowered his head and looked coldly at Gu Holy Sun. Huh! Everyone in the outside world was astonished. Phoenix. Dark Phoenix. Guu Holy Sun's expression changed. Originally, he thought that it was just a treasure. How could there be a living creature inside? You're courting death. Black Phoenix said coldly. He spread his wings. Suddenly, a boundless dark purple aura erupted. Boom. Endless dark purple chi instantly filled the entire space. Other than Yang Chuan and Emperor, everyone else was entangled by the dark purple chi. Ah, the poison of the netherworld. Shinkuan Kuroha's expression changed drastically. Not only Shinkuan Kuroha, but also Yang Jigu, the Emptiness Realm experts, and Guu Holy Sun's faces darkened. All of them had been poisoned. Guu Holy Sun stared at the huge phoenix in horror. He was at the middle Emptiness Realm. How could he be powerless in front of this phoenix? Bam! 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 With just a flap of its wings, everyone fell to the ground. No, no, I can't die. Yang Jigu screamed in horror. The black phoenix was too terrifying. Just spreading its wings? Black Phoenix looked at the group of people coldly. Those who dare to barge into the heavenly Jade Palace, die. Phoenix said coldly. Just as Black Phoenix finished speaking, a loud voice suddenly rang out. Who dares to kill my son? His voice was filled with anger. A vast light suddenly rushed into the main hall. The light was golden and filled with heat. Father. Guu Holy Sun said excitedly. Father, Father, save me, Father. Yang Jigu also screamed. Mohina Jin? Yang Chuan raised an eyebrow. The scorching light seemed to come from a distance, filling the entire space with a loud bang. Yin tilde 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 tilde. The black phoenix was provoked and let out an angry roar. With a furious roar, he turned his head to look at Yang Chuan and Emperor, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Boom! Black Phoenix's body suddenly erupted with an enormous aura. Her aura soared to the sky, causing everyone to tremble incessantly. Boom! Almost everyone was sent flying in an instant. Ah, Father, save me! Yang Jigu exclaimed. Boom! Yang Chuan, Emperor, and everyone else were sent flying by the Black Phoenix's aura. Boom! Yang Chuan fell to the ground in one direction. Yin tilde 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 tilde. Not far away, a loud cry of a phoenix could be heard. From the ground, a huge phoenix with a height of 500 feet rushed out. The phoenix was surrounded by countless phoenix shadows. They soared to the sky and rushed towards the huge light pillar that shot down from the sky. Rumble. Under the impact of this powerful aura, the derivative world was shattered into pieces. At this moment, Mo Yu Shi also extended his hand and blasted a pile of skeletons. Chapter 441. Be destroyed. Mo Yu Shi shouted coldly. No, no, no. The skull screamed. Poisoner had already turned into a pile of broken bones. Only his head could speak. Bang! Under Mo Yushi's furious roar, the poison master exploded with a loud bang, turning into ashes and completely dissipating. Saintess. Qing Long and the others surrounded her. More than 10 bodies flew out from all directions like heavenly maidens scattering flowers. All of them fell to the ground. A huge black phoenix soared into the sky. Countless phoenix phantoms appeared in all directions. There were tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of phoenix phantoms circling around. The black phoenix flew high into the sky and looked coldly at the Daoist-robed figure in the golden light pillar. It was Mohina Jin's virtuous Dharma idol. It's you. Mohina Jin exclaimed. You've also reached the upper emptiness realm? Your son broke into my palace. Did you ask him to do so? Black Phoenix said coldly. Me? Mph, you're just a clone. The world has already changed. Dark Phoenix Lord, your era has already passed. You'd better surrender and let me refine you. Mohina Jin shouted coldly. Ha ha ha, a scoundrel like you wants to refine my clone? Roar tilde tilde tilde. Black Phoenix shouted, and a huge aura burst out. Countless phoenix phantoms circled around, forming a huge phoenix barrier in the sky. Inside, Mohina Jin's virtuous Dharma idol was like a blazing sun, burning the phoenix phantoms. Rumble. Heaven and earth trembled. The two peerless experts fought fiercely in the sky. The huge airflow blew away the surrounding mountains, causing them to collapse. Not far away, Yang Chuan slowly got up. When he got up, he felt something hard in his hand. He looked down and saw a piece of jade the size of a watermelon in his palm. It was the heaven-earth great mystic yellow universal jade. Yang Chuan turned to look at the jade mountain in the distance. The distant jade mountain had already disappeared. Black Phoenix fulfilled his promise and shrunk the jade mountain to Yang Chuan. Meow, meow. Meow ran over worriedly. Meow, quick, let me borrow your hat. Yang Chuan immediately called out. Meow. Meow quickly took off the felt hat. Using the precious jade, he threw it at the small felt hat. Hoo! The heaven-burying coffin fell into the small felt hat. The space in the jade had completely collapsed. Phew! Yang Chuan let out a long breath. He turned his head to look at Feng Yinyang, who was on the mountain peak not far away. As soon as Poisoner died and the derivative world was destroyed, Feng Yinyang was freed. He looked up at the powerful Mohina Jin in the sky and was silent for a while, as if he was making a decision in his heart. In the end, after being silent for a while, he still wanted to rush to the place where Jiu Holy Sun was. Feng Yinyang! Yang Chuan shouted. Feng Yinyang paused. Let's escape first. Come and find me later. Yang Chuan smiled. This smile made Feng Yinyang realize something. He nodded his head and instantly rushed into the forest to escape. Who? Mo Yushi brought Qing Long and the others and flew near Yang Chuan. Fused. Yang Chuan looked at Mo Yushi expectantly. Mo Yushi bit her lips and her eyes flashed with gratitude. But soon, the look of gratitude turned into gentleness. Millimeter. Mo Yushi nodded her head excitedly. Yang Chuan. Emperor suddenly flew over from afar. Millimeter. Yang Chuan looked at Emperor in confusion. Mo Yushi also frowned and looked at Emperor. Let me ask you, who is Mohina Jin? Emperor asked in a deep voice. One of the 3 Dao lords of the Dazhao Holy Ground. Yang Chuan said. Chapter 442. Where are the other 2? The Emperor asked anxiously. Yang Chuan looked at Mo Yushi. Mo Yushi nodded. One is called Dao Lord Yu. Mo Yushi explained. Morning. Yu. The sun and moon attendants. The Emperor asked in a deep voice. You know him? Yang Chuan asked curiously. There's another one. Is it a girl named Jing? The Emperor asked with certainty. It's a woman, but her name isn't Jing. She was the master of the Great Revelation Holy Land, and her name was Dao Lord Jingying. Or Holy Lord Jingying, the number 1 person in the world. Mo Yushi shook her head and looked at the Emperor in confusion. Her. The sun and moon in the sky, illuminating the earth. The most powerful person in the world. As expected, her ambition has turned into reality, the Emperor said in a deep voice. You know the 3 Dao Lords of the Great Revelation Holy Land? Mo Yushi said in surprise. The Emperor did not answer. Instead, he looked at Yang Chuan and said, I'm leaving. Yang Chuan nodded. Swish. Emperor stepped into the forest and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yang Chuan, who is she? Mo Yushi asked in confusion. Yang Chuan shook his head and said, now is not the place to talk. Let's talk later. En. Mo Yushi nodded. Yang Chuan looked up at the sky. Meow, that phoenix is a doppelganger, right? So desperate. Meow Meow cried. This is her final battle, and she's about to disperse. Naturally, she has to release her final splendor. Phoenix dances in the 9 heavens. Yang Chuan sighed softly. Boom. 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 Heaven and earth trembled violently from the battle between the 2 peerless powerhouses. Images of Phoenix appeared everywhere. For a moment, tens of thousands of phoenixes cried out and gathered to fight against the blazing sun. In the midst of the battle between experts, Shinku Kuroha and the group of elders struggled to get up. Shinku Kuroha took out a golden pill. Quick, eat the golden flame pill left behind by the Lord to suppress the poison of the netherworld. Shinku Kuroha shouted. As they spoke, the 6 of them quickly swallowed the golden pills. Who? Golden runes suddenly appeared on the bodies of the 6 people. It was like a tattoo. Sect Master, it's just suppressing it. The poison of the netherworld is too terrifying. It's impossible to get rid of it without a few years, an elder said with a complicated expression. Let's get out of here first. Shinku and Kuroha shouted. Swish. The 6 of them quickly shot in one direction. Those bastards, I'm going to kill them. Bai Long was about to kill them. It's a pill that stimulates one's potential. It can't expel the poison, but it can stimulate one's potential for a short period of time and suppress the poison of the netherworld with one's own strength. We can't stop them now. Yang Chuan shook his head. Father, save me, I can't hold on any longer. Yang Jigu shouted to the sky. Swish. In the forest, a purple figure shot out and rushed to Jiu Holy Sun's side. Holy Sun, are you alright? It was Zichuan, who had escaped with serious injuries. Jiu Holy Sun's face was dark as he tried his best to expel the poison. Find my sky-burying coffin for me, quick. Jiu Holy Sun said with hatred. Yes, yes. Zichuan shouted with difficulty. In the sky, the battle was getting more and more intense. The cries of thousands of phoenixes resounded in the sky. The black phoenix carried Mohina Jin's virtuous Dharma form and rushed into the sky. So you're going to disperse? Go to hell. Mohina Jin's roar came from the sky. Swish. The black phoenix was the last to release a dazzling brilliance and exploded. Hong tilde 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 tilde. The black phoenix exploded and turned into hundreds of thousands of phoenix shadows. They exploded in all directions and scattered in all directions. The sky and earth were lit up by the countless phoenix shadows. Chapter 443. The black phoenix exploded, and the original high-altitude battlefield distorted intensely. Old bastard. Mohina Jin's angry roar came from the sky. Hum. 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 The boundless will of phoenix scattered in all directions, and then gradually dissipated. The black phoenix had self-destructed during the battle. It would rather be destroyed than to benefit Mohina Jin. Within the golden light, Mohina Jin was furious, but he gradually accepted the truth. Mohina Jin's Dharma idol was a little damaged. Clearly, the black phoenix's self-destruction had caused some damage to Mohina Jin. Save me. Father, save me. In the valley below, young Jigu screamed. Who? Mohina Jin landed on the ground in an instant. In an instant, a huge pressure came crashing down. Endless heat seemed to be burning everything in the surroundings. There were 2 people lying on the ground. Young Jigu and Jiu Holy Sun. Father, I have been poisoned by the netherworld. Jiu Holy Sun said expectantly. Father, save me. Young Jigu also shouted. Mohina Jin looked at his 2 sons. Without any hesitation, he instantly appeared in front of young Jigu. With a wave of his hand, a beam of golden light rushed into young Jigu's body, helping young Jigu remove the poison from his body. Father. Jiu's eyes flashed with sorrow. Father didn't even think about it and went straight to Laro Ju's place. Even the slightest hesitation made Jiu feel a little better. However, Mohina Jin did not hesitate to save young Jigu. Why? Laro Ju is just a piece of trash. Why can't father see his son's efforts? Why does he still value Laro Ju so much? Why? Jiu Holy Sun screamed in his heart. Boom. The netherworld poison in young Jigu's body was dispelled. Father, I'm much better. Young Jigu shouted. En. Mohina Jin nodded. Mohina Jin turned to look at Jiu Holy Sun. Mph, I told you to take care of Laro Ju. What did you do? If I hadn't discovered it in time, Laro Ju would be dead this time. Mohina Jin scolded. It was as if he had opened up a wound and sprinkled a handful of salt on it. Jiu Holy Sun's heart turned cold. Although Mohina Jin scolded him, he still extended his hand and sent a golden light into Jiu Holy Sun's body. Rumble. A large amount of black gas was forced out of Jiu Holy Sun's body. The netherworld poison in his body was also slowly dispelled. Thank you, Father. Guu Holy Sun said sadly. Turning his head, Tao Lord Many Sun looked in Mo Yuxi's direction. Despite being enveloped by the light, Tao Lord Fury Sun's appearance was still unclear. Yuxi, Holy Maiden? Looks like you've gained a lot this time, Mohina Jin said coldly. Mo Yuxi took a step forward and took a deep breath. Since Mohina Jin is here, let's settle this matter. Oh! Mohina Jin said coldly. The perfected Sichuan behind Guu Holy Sun has offended his superiors. Mohina Jin, please make a decision. Mo Yuxi said in a low voice. Offended his superiors? Mohina Jin looked coldly at Sichuan. That's right. I'm the Holy Maiden of the Dazhao Holy Ground, a perfected cultivator. He's only a perfected cultivator. He used a perfected cultivator to hurt a perfected cultivator and even caused a perfected cultivator to fall under the control of an outer sect. Since he dared to offend the Dazhao Holy Ground today, he'll definitely betray his sect in the future. Mohina Jin, please make a decision. Mo Yuxi said seriously. Tao Lord. Sichuan immediately knelt down, trembling. Mo Yuxi, perfected cultivator, is what you said true? Mohina Jin said coldly. Father, Sichuan was following my orders. He did what I wanted. Guu Holy Sun shouted. Chapter 444. I'm not asking you, I'm asking Sichuan. Is what Mo Yuxi said true? Tell me the truth. Mohina Jin shouted coldly. Guu Holy Sun opened his mouth but did not dare to speak. Yes, but at that time. Sichuan explained in fear. Yes, that's enough. Mohina Jin said coldly. Those who rebel against their superiors will die. Mohina Jin shouted coldly. Bang! Sichuan's body suddenly burned. Ah, Taoist Lord, please spare my life. Taoist Lord, please spare my life. Holy Sun, save me. Holy Sun, save me. In the fire, Sichuan screamed in fear. Boom! The fire suddenly rose and Sichuan was burned to death in the blink of an eye. Mohina Jin watched Sichuan die coldly. No one dared to plead for mercy. He turned around and looked at the 8 perfected persons of the Dazhao Holy Sun on the ground. The 8 perfected persons were all poisoned and their faces were black. However, Mohina Jin did not help them get rid of the poison. Learn your lesson after being poisoned. Mohina Jin said coldly. Yes. The 8 perfected persons said respectfully. They did not dare to contradict him. Mohina Jin looked at Guu Holy Sun again and said coldly, Guu, you have disappointed me. With that, he ignored the others and flew into the sky. Whoosh! Along with the golden light, it suddenly disappeared. He left in the blink of an eye. Watching Mohina Jin leave, Guu Holy Sun clenched his fists. His eyes were bloodshot. Unwillingness, sadness, and anger filled his mind. He had great ambitions, but his luck was always on the wrong side of things, always. Roar! Guu Holy Sun roared angrily. Taking a step, the ancient moon saint child soared into the sky with great sorrow. Tch. Yang Zhijiu sneered disdainfully. Immortal City. Northern Mo Palace. In a large hall, Yang Chuan sat cross-legged alone. In front of him was a black and yellow jade. The heaven and earth great dark yellow jade. I was going to find some jade to make an imperial seal. Now that I have this jade, the other seals are nothing. The jade that I dreamed of in my previous life has appeared in this life. The heavens are helping me. Yang Chuan sighed. The imperial seal. The imperial seal is complete. All that's left is the imperial edict, investiture of the gods. I must obtain the god investiture strategy during this trip to Julu Academy. Yang Chuan pondered. Dong dong dong. The sound of knocking came from outside the palace. Rumble. The door suddenly opened. Mo Yuxi pushed the door open. Miao stood on Mo Yuxi's shoulder. Yang Chuan, the person you've been waiting for is here. Mo Yuxi smiled. Come in together. Yang Chuan smiled. Mo Yuxi carried Miao into the palace, followed by a black-robed man. It was Feng Yinyang who had left earlier. Feng Yinyang seemed to be a little agitated. When he came in, his fists were slightly clenched. Feng Yinyang, you're quite fast. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. He gave Mo Yushi a look, and Mo Yushi knowingly closed the door. Boom. After closing the door, the hall was illuminated by a luminous pearl. Please take a seat, Yang Chuan said with a smile. There was a square table at the side of the hall. Yang Chuan sat at the head of the table, Feng Yinyang sat below, and Mo Yushi sat to the side. Mo Yushi picked up the teapot on the table and poured tea for the two of them. Thank you, Feng Yinyang said respectfully. Mo Yushi smiled faintly and did not say anything. She knew that Yang Chuan had something to say. Yang Chuan wanted her to accompany him, which meant that Yang Chuan did not want to hide anything from her. It was best to listen from the side. Chapter 445. This is the golden flame tea collected by Yu Shi. Try it. Yang Chuan smiled. Feng Yinyang exclaimed, Prince Yang, you're so lucky. Mo Yushi blushed slightly. Meow. Meow was lying on Mo Yushi's shoulder, looking listless. Yes, I, Yang Chuan, am more lucky. Yang Chuan smiled. After saving his life in the Demon Wind mountain range and Yang Chuan's mysterious performance, Feng Yinyang had adjusted his attitude. At the very least, their positions were equal. Prince Yang, that day you said. Feng Yinyang said anxiously. Feng Yinyang, don't you feel awkward talking like that? Yang Chuan smiled. Feng Yinyang was silent for a while. Finally, he took a deep breath and gently lifted his hat. When the hat was lifted, a handsome face was revealed. However, his hair was silver. Prince Yang, that buried sky coffin is very important to me. Did you really get it? Feng Yinyang asked expectantly. Yes, it's with me. Yang Chuan took a sip of the tea and nodded. Phew, that's great. Can you give it to me? Feng Yinyang said excitedly. Anyone can see that the buried sky coffin is a great treasure. It might even be a fairy weapon. Why should I give it to you? Yang Chuan smiled. Hey! Feng Yinyang's expression changed. Yang Chuan continued to drink his tea unhurriedly. Fairy weapon? I can exchange it with a fairy weapon. I have a fairy weapon. Feng Yinyang said immediately. Fairy weapon? Mo Yushi's eyes lit up. She was surprised that Feng Yinyang had such a great treasure. Shaking his head, Yang Chuan smiled and said, Fairy weapon? Yang Chuan, don't care about it. Hey! Feng Yinyang looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. Fairy weapon? That was a fairy weapon. Yang Chuan didn't care about it. Mo Yushi also looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. Finally, a trace of admiration flashed in her eyes for Yang Chuan's boldness. Yang Chuan naturally liked fairy weapons. But exchanging a fairy weapon for the buried sky coffin? Perhaps some people would be blinded by greed, but how could Yang Chuan's experience be so shallow? Yang Chuan had already set his sights on the world. Yang Chuan believed that he would have a fairy weapon sooner or later, and he would have a lot of it. However, talents were hard to come by. If he could get Feng Yinyang, wouldn't he have the buried sky coffin, the fairy weapon, and Feng Yinyang at the same time? Prince Yang, what do you want? Feng Yinyang said in a low voice. I heard that Feng Shui masters are divided into Southern Sect and Northern Sect. Are you from Southern Sect? Yang Chuan asked. That's right. In Southern Sect, my status is equivalent to Mo Yushi's status. Feng Yinyang nodded. Oh. Mo Yushi looked at Feng Yinyang in surprise. Mo Yushi's status was equivalent to that of a middle sect leader. However, Yang Chuan heard another layer of meaning from Feng Yinyang's words. Feng Yinyang was not willing to give up his current status. Sighing in his heart, Yang Chuan knew that he could not force it now. I can give you the buried sky coffin, but you have to promise me 3 things, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. As long as you don't violate my principles and don't betray the sect, Feng Yinyang will definitely fulfill the 3 conditions. Prince Yang, please tell me, Feng Yinyang said solemnly. Smiling, Yang Chuan said, don't worry, I won't violate your principles. I can only think of one of the 3 conditions. As for the other 2, I'll tell you later. Feng Yinyang frowned and finally nodded. Please tell me. Yang Chuan flipped his hand and took out a large number of blueprints and a few letters. Take these letters to Carefree City and hand them to Liu Jin, Hua Guang, and Feng Tairan. They will lead the way for you and handle some trivial matters. After that, you will go to Yangjing and hand these letters to Yi Feng. I want you to help me set up a feng shui array in Yangjing, Yang Chuan said. Set up an array? A feng shui array? That simple? Feng Yinyang was surprised. It's that simple. Yang Chuan smiled. All right, what array? Feng Yinyang took a deep breath and said. This is an array diagram. Lead 100 dragon veins into Yangjing and form 100 dragons pilgrimage. It's the supreme array, Yang Chuan said. Feng Yinyang took the blueprints. What a domineering feng shui array diagram. 100 dragons pilgrimage? Supreme array? Feng Yinyang exclaimed. Chapter 446. Feng Yinyang looked at the formation diagram that Yang Chuan handed over, his eyes constantly changing. It's not the style of the South sect, nor is it the style of the Northern sect. Prince Yang, this. Feng Yinyang looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. You can understand it. Yang Chuan stared at Feng Yinyang. Although it's very different from what I learned, I've already digested yin and yang. I can understand it. There are many subtleties within it that have opened my eyes. Prince Yang, did you create this? It's just some formation diagrams that I came across by chance. Yang Chuan shook his head. Really? There are other formation diagrams? Feng Yinyang's eyes lit up. If there's a chance in the future, I'll look for it again. Yang Chuan smiled slightly. Feng Yinyang looked at Yang Chuan and understood that Yang Chuan was rejecting him tactfully. He smiled bitterly and said, All right. Meow, give the sky-burying coffin to Feng Yinyang. Yang Chuan said. Meow. Meow immediately took out the small felt hat. Rumble. A huge coffin fell out of the small felt hat. Taking a deep breath, Feng Yinyang stood up and touched the sky-burying coffin. It's real. It's really the sky-burying coffin, Feng Yinyang exclaimed. If that's the case, then take it. Yang Chuan smiled slightly. Feng Yinyang turned to look at Yang Chuan, his eyes uncertain. Prince Yang, aren't you afraid that I'll run away with the sky-burying coffin? Feng Yinyang looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. Wasn't this too casual? He didn't even sign the contract. How could he just give it away like that? It's just a coffin. If you really want it, just take it. As for the 3 conditions, I believe you will keep your promise. I won't be wrong about you. Yang Chuan smiled. Looking at Yang Chuan, Feng Yinyang felt a surge of gratitude. Prince Yang, rest assured. I, Feng Yinyang, am a man of my word. Feng Yinyang said solemnly. I believe you. Yang Chuan smiled. Prince Yang, don't you want to know why I want the heaven-burying coffin? Feng Yinyang asked. Why should I know? Yang Chuan smiled in a carefree manner. The more Yang Chuan acted like this, the more Feng Yinyang felt apologetic. Feng Yinyang bowed deeply to Yang Chuan, took a deep breath, and said, This heaven-burying coffin is very important to my southern sect. My southern sect will use it to set up a huge feng shui ceremony. Everything will be done in secret. Only a few people know about it, and they will collect all kinds of things from all over. I will be in charge of this huge coffin. Is that so? Feng shui ceremony? Yang Chuan said in surprise. Yes, it will definitely cause a stir in the south. If Prince Yang has time, you can come and watch the ceremony, Feng Yinyang said solemnly. Watch the ceremony? As long as you invite me, I will definitely be there. Yang Chuan nodded solemnly. I will inform you when the time comes. Feng Yinyang smiled. Yang Chuan nodded. After chatting with Feng Yinyang for a while, Feng Yinyang left with the heaven-burying coffin and the feng shui array. In the hall, only Yang Chuan, Mo Yuxi, and Miao were left. Miao, why have you been so listless these days? This is not like you. Yang Chuan looked at Miao. Miao looked a little depressed. What's wrong? Yang Chuan asked again. Miao, Yang Chuan, am I very useless? Miao's eyes were suddenly filled with tears. What's wrong? Who said you are useless? Yang Chuan immediately hugged Meow to comfort her. Yes, Meow, what's wrong with you? Mo Yu, she was also worried. She took out a top-grade spirit stone and stuffed it into Meow's arms. Normally, Meow would be very happy, but now, holding the spirit stone, she felt so wronged that she wanted to cry. Chapter 447. Meow, tell me, what's wrong? Yang Chuan asked worriedly. Last time in the forest, I felt so useless. You were so badly injured, but I couldn't help you. You even asked people to protect me. Meow. Meow said sadly. With a smile, Yang Chuan touched Meow's head and said, so it's because of this. Don't be sad. Who said you didn't help me? Who said you were useless? Did I? I saw so many people beating you, but I could only watch. Boo-hoo. Meow said sadly. Ha ha ha, you didn't just watch. You helped me a lot. You see, if it wasn't for your little felt hat, how could I get the sky-burying coffin? How could I negotiate with Feng Yinyang? How could there be so many arrangements? You helped me a lot. Yang Chuan comforted. Really? But Meow was still a little depressed. Your strength. You're still young. Besides, who's more powerful than you? When you broke through, the heavenly tribulation didn't even look for you. How abnormal is this ability? You'll definitely be more powerful in the future. Yang Chuan comforted. The heavenly tribulation didn't look for Meow. Mo Yu, she asked doubtfully. Yes, when Meow reached the essence realm from the strength realm, she didn't go through the heavenly tribulation. Yang Chuan nodded. Ah, how is that possible? Mo Yu, she said in surprise. Meow. Seems like it. Meow recalled and suddenly said in surprise. If you don't go through the heavenly tribulation and your cultivation keeps rising, will you be very powerful in the future? Yang Chuan asked. Well, seems like it. Meow suddenly had a trace of confidence. Besides, your bloodline is definitely very noble in the tiger tribe. In the future, thousands of tigers will have to listen to you. At that time, I'll be basking in your glory, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Meow, seems like it. I can take in many tiger brothers and let them help you. Meow said excitedly. That won't do. What are you sad about? Yang Chuan laughed. That's right. Meow meow, I have the tiger clan scroll. I can reward a lot of tigers. I can do it. Meow. Meow's mood instantly brightened. Scroll of the tiger clan? Yang Chuan didn't ask, but he could guess. Meow was in a good mood, and so was Yang Chuan. Meow, Daliu. Yang Chuan, I'm going out to play. I won't disturb you and Sister Mo. Meow. Meow happily skipped out of the hall. He watched as Meow left. Mo Yushi and Yang Chuan both smiled knowingly. Mo Yushi blushed. Is the poison gone? Yang Chuan asked. Yes, it's all gone. Thank you. Mo Yushi said softly. Do we still need to thank you? Yang Chuan smiled. Mo Yushi felt as if she had drunk ice water in summer. Then I won't thank you. Mo Yushi smiled sweetly. Yang Chuan's eyes softened as he looked at Mo Yushi. Oh right, Poisoner's great development diagram is with me. I heard it's the most precious treasure of the northern sect. Mo Yushi took out the great development diagram that Poisoner had used to set up the formation. Then I'll keep it. Yang Chuan didn't argue. Mo Yushi smiled. Last time, you said you wanted to go to Julu Academy for what? You want to participate in the Heavenly Bestowment Conference and compete for the Tiance in the merit pool? Are you planning to start a sect? Mo Yushi asked curiously. Yang Chuan shook his head and said, the Heavenly Bestowment Conference isn't just about the Tiance. There's also the deification strategy. I want to compete for the deification strategy. Ah, deification strategy? What's the use of that? You're not planning to start an academy, are you? Mo Yushi said in surprise. Chapter 448. Haha, tell me how to compete for the investiture of the gods. Yang Chuan laughed. All right. The Julu Academy holds a Heavens Bestowment Conference every 100 years. They pray to the heavens and ask for merit, and the heavens will bestow upon them Tiance and investiture of the gods. The Tiance is used to control the pond of merit, and the investiture of the gods is used to control the sea of fortune, and the academy needs the investiture of the gods to support the sea of fortune. Mo Yushi explained. Millimeter. Yang Chuan nodded. There are countless sects in the world with pond of merit, but only the 4 great academies have the sea of fortune. Fortune is extremely difficult to collect. The 4 great academies have won the world's support and accumulated boundless fortune because they helped the sects in the world ask for merit and gave them the Tiance. However, once their fortune has increased to the level of a mid-level sect, it's very difficult to go any further. They can only be mid-level sects. Although they can't reach the level of a high-level sect, they are still respected by the world. After all, countless sects in the world hope to obtain the Tiance from the academy. Mo Yushi explained. Only the 4 great academies collect fortune? Yang Chuan asked. Mo Yushi smiled. Collecting fortune is too difficult. In the past, there were people who obtained the investiture of the gods and opened up new academies. However, fortune was lost faster than it was gained. In less than 100 years, the investiture of the gods would disappear without the nourishment of fortune. Open up academies to collect fortune? Haha, what a joke. Yang Chuan shook his head. Joke? Isn't fortune accumulated by the academy? Mo Yushi asked curiously. Of course not. Just watch and see how I collect fortune from the world. Yang Chuan smiled. Millimeter, but the investiture of the gods is also very difficult to obtain, Mo Yushi said after some thought. Oh. The previous investiture of the gods has mostly been taken by the Julu Academy. This is because the investiture of the gods will contain some fortune. The Julu Academy will use this fortune to fill their sea of fortune. If you want the investiture of the gods, you'll have to fight. Mo Yushi said after some thought. Fight? How? Just like heavenly policy, a competition between sects? Yang Chuan asked curiously. No. It's a battle of wits with the great scholars of Julu Institute. Only after winning can we snatch the god investiture strategy from them, Mo Yushi said. Investiture of the gods. The Julu Academy won't reject anyone who wants the investiture of the gods, but you must win. However, it's too difficult. The Julu Academy is the place with the greatest literary style in the world. It won't be easy to win against the investiture of the gods, Mo Yushi said worriedly. Let's fight. I want to see how great the literary style of the Julu Academy is. Yang Chuan smiled. You really want to fight for the investiture of the gods? Mo Yushi asked in surprise. I'm determined to get it. Yang Chuan nodded affirmatively. But. Mo Yushi was still worried. No buts. I'm going to the Julu Academy this time for this. Investiture of the gods. I'm looking forward to it too, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Mo Yushi thought for a while and finally nodded. Then I'll convince Mr. Munro to help you. Mr. Munro? Isn't he the young master of the Julu Academy? Yang Chuan asked in confusion. Mr. Munro has already been kicked out of the Julu Academy and joined the Dazhao Sacred Ground. Naturally, he doesn't represent the Julu Academy. Don't worry, leave this to me. Mo Yushi nodded affirmatively. All right. It's best if we leave as soon as possible. Once we're there, I'll be able to understand the situation. That. Mo Yushi frowned. What's wrong? Is it okay if I arrive later? You want to refine the Dark Phoenix? Yang Chuan looked at the purple crystal between Mo Yushi's eyebrows. Yes. It might take a year or 2. There are too many things inside the Dark Phoenix. I'll let Qing Long, Bai Long, Rosefinch, and Xuanwu escort you there. I'll definitely be there before the Heavenly Bestowment Conference. I guarantee that Mr. Munro will be there too. Mo Yushi said affirmatively. Looking at Mo Yushi, Yang Chuan shook his head and said, Qing Long and Bai Long can follow me. Let Rosefinch and Xuanwu stay behind to protect you. They'll protect you. Okay. Chapter 449. Book 3, Establishing a Country. Chapter 1, Outside Julu City, By Di Tian under the blue sky, a green light pierced through the cloud. It was a small green boat. The small boat flew through the sky at high speed. Qing Long stood at the bow of the boat and looked at the mountains in the distance. Meow. Yang Chuan carried little Meow out of the boat's cabin. Meow held a spirit stone in its hand and was happily gnawing on it. Young master, Qing Long said respectfully. Are we almost there? Yang Chuan smiled. It's been 3 months. We're finally there. Qing Long nodded. 3 months. Bai Long should have received Yi Feng by now. Yang Chuan took a deep breath. Young master, are you really going to compete for the God bestowment strategy? Qing Long frowned. Why? Yang Chuan smiled. The God bestowment strategy requires you to fight against a group of scholars. Julu Academy has so many great scholars. With just young master and Bai Long's subordinate, can you win? Qing Long said worriedly. Meow, what are you afraid of? They're just a group of scholars. Meow said nonchalantly. Qing Long smiled bitterly. Scholars. This was not a competition of martial strength. It was a competition of the things of scholars. Don't worry, I have my own plans. Yang Chuan smiled. Yes. Qing Long did not say anything else. Julu Academy is located in Julu mountain range. It's surrounded by a huge city where countless cultivators gather. It's called Julu City. Qing Long said. Julu City? Yang Chuan pondered. Julu Academy's divine guardian beast is from the deer clan. Once you enter this area, no one is allowed to hurt the deer. This is the rule of Julu Academy, Qing Long said. Divine guardian beast? Deer? Are there only deer? No, there are some other vassal races, but in the end, the deer race has the highest status. Qing Long explained. I understand. Yang Chuan nodded. Boom, boom, boom. While the boat was flying towards Julu City, a white light suddenly shot into the sky from afar. Stop. Yang Chuan's expression changed. Qing Long quickly controlled the boat to slow down. Nature energy? Yang Chuan's expression changed. In the distant forest, although there were many clouds and mist covering it, the nature energy still soared into the sky. There. Young master, I've accompanied the saintess to pass by this place before. It's a tiger tribe. One of the Julu Academy's vassals. Qing Long explained. Tiger clan? Clan? Yang Chuan's eyes lit up. The tiger clan was not a social animal. A ferocious tiger occupied an area. Even if it was a ferocious tiger that did not cultivate, it still had this habit. And yet, there was actually a clan here. Tribe. This proved that there was a tiger civilization here. A civilization that valued bloodlines. Meow, meow, let's go take a look. Meow said excitedly. Let's go. Yang Chuan nodded. The boat quickly flew towards the nature energy. Meow, do you remember what I told you before? Don't reveal your identity, Yang Chuan said softly. Meow, meow. Meow nodded immediately. Soon, the 2 humans and 1 cat arrived in front of them. When they got closer, they realized that there were already thousands of cultivators surrounding the area. They were all spectators. All of them were looking at the 3 groups confronting each other in the center of the field. In the west, thousands of ferocious tigers roared. At the front of the group of tigers stood 3 men. The leader was a middle-aged man in a white robe. His expression was indifferent, but there was a hidden arrogance in his eyes. Behind him stood 2 old men, 1 red and 1 yellow. Why are there 3 tiger beasts? Qing Long raised his eyebrows. Chapter 450. You know him? Yang Chuan asked. The old man in yellow behind the white-robed tiger is the original Tiger King, Zhuo Wuzhou. The old man in red is his younger brother, Zhuo Qianqiu. They used to lead the tigers here, but for some reason, they're standing behind the middle-aged man in white right now. I've never seen that person before. Qing Long frowned. This was only a group of tigers from the west. Yang Chuan actually knew the group from the north. The leader was actually Spider King. Back when Yao Tianshang fought with Prince Jiyu, he destroyed an entire city with his Guqin. The monster playing the Guqin was Spider King. Behind Spider King stood 10 other figures. Yang Chuan had seen most of them before, because some of them were the monsters that Yarou Tianshang had subdued in the demonic Wind Mountain range. Spider King stared coldly at the last group in the south. The last group was all wearing scholarly robes. They glared at Spider King. The leader was Meng Rongrong, who had been driven away by Yang Chuan. In Yangjin, Meng Rongrong invited Yi Feng to join the Julu Academy, but was stopped by Yang Chuan. The daughter of the dean of the Julu Academy, Mr. Munro's sister, Meng Rongrong, Zhuo Wuzhou, tell her, did you agree to let all the tigers follow me to the north and join my master? Spider King shouted. Zhuo Wuzhou, the Julu Academy has been good to you all these years. Back when the tigers were attacked by hundreds of sects, the Julu Academy protected the tigers here. Why? Are you going to betray us now? Meng Rongrong scolded. The yellow-robed old man looked bitter. Little Meng, how dare you talk about betrayal? How many things have the tigers done for you all these years? How many tigers have died? We're even now. Spider King shouted. Zhuo Wuzhou, tell me what happened. Did they force you? Meng Rongrong shouted. Force? What a joke. My lord is a man of great talent and strategy. Why would he use force? Zhuo Wuzhou, tell them what happened. King Spider shouted. The yellow-robed Zhuo Wuzhou smiled bitterly. I was the one who agreed. Did you hear that? King Spider said proudly. But, Zhuo Wuzhou suddenly shouted. Everyone looked at Zhuo Wuzhou. Just yesterday, I'm no longer the Tiger King. A new Tiger King has been born. It's this person, Bai Detian. He's our new king. Zhuo Wuzhou immediately shook his head. Bai Detian? Wang Zhu frowned as he looked at the white-robed man. Bai Detian? Meng Rongrong also looked at the white-robed man. The white-robed man smiled faintly and looked at the two sides. The two of you. Bai Detian was about to speak. Suddenly, Bai Detian's eyes narrowed. He raised his head and looked into the distance, his expression extremely solemn. Bai Detian's gaze was fixed on Qing Long's boat in mid-air. He went straight for Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan's face darkened. Meow. Meow immediately glared. Bai Detian squinted his eyes and stared at Meow. You found out. Yang Chuan's eyes flashed with a serious look. Yang Chuan, who was carrying Meow Meow, was the first to feel Bai Detian's will. It was an extremely arrogant will. Just one look was enough to make Yang Chuan put up his guard. The fierceness of this gaze was actually not much different from his previous lives. Bai Detian. Meow, that person is staring at me. It's so scary. Meow leaned against Yang Chuan. When Bai Detian saw Meow Meow, he frowned deeply. His eyes were filled with uncertainty, curiosity, confusion, and shock. Chapter 451. How is this possible? Bai Detian muttered in surprise. King, what's wrong? Zhuo Wuzhou asked curiously. Zhuo Wuzhou and Zhuo Qianqiu were both emptiness realm experts, but they were not as sensitive as Bai Detian. They could not sense Meow's abnormality. Bai Detian ignored Meng Rongrong and King Spider and stared into the distance. Everyone immediately turned their heads. Many cultivators' gazes gathered on the small boat, and Yang Chuan's boat became the center of attention. Hey! Brother Yang! A surprised shout came from the Julu Academy crowd. A plump cultivator walked out from a group of cultivators dressed in scholarly robes. His face was filled with surprise as though he was an old friend. Dongfang Zhengpai? Yang Chuan was slightly surprised. Yang Chuan? Meng Rongrong's face darkened. The King Spider on the other side also frowned slightly. Brother Yang, come here, come here. Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. Let's go. Yang Chuan said to Qing Long yes. Swish. The small boat weaved through the crowd of cultivators and quickly headed towards the Julu Academy crowd. Phew. Qing Long kept the small boat and landed in front of a group of scholarly cultivators with Yang Chuan. Brother Yang, you made me look for you. I searched the demonic Wind Mountain range for more than a year, but I could not find this kitten. I went to Carefree City to look for you, but you were gone again. Tell me, where did you find this kitten? Dongfang Zhengpai asked anxiously. Kitten, your sister. I am not a cat. Miao glared at Dongfang Zhengpai. Enough. Yang Chuan stopped Miao from scolding. At the side, Meng Rongrong looked at Yang Chuan with a gloomy expression. Meng Rongrong snorted at Yang Chuan and ignored him. Bai Detian kept staring at Miao, his brows never relaxed. Bai Detian, Zhuo Wuzhou must have already told you about my lord. My lord is a man of great talent and strategy. You should know that as long as the Tiger clan defers to him, I guarantee that no one will dare to bully your Tiger clan. Wang Zhu shouted. Bai Detian. No one has ever betrayed the Julu Academy. I hope that you tigers aren't the first. Meng Rongrong said in a deep voice. Bai Detian shifted his gaze away from Miao and looked at both sides. Finally, he took a deep breath and said, the Julu Academy extended a helping hand during the tiger race's calamity. Bai Detian will always remember that. However, the tiger race has its own path. The Julu Academy cannot give me what I want. You can't give it. Why couldn't he give it to her? Bai Detian. Explain yourself. Meng Rongrong said in a low voice. Ha ha ha, little lass Meng, a fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. Bai Detian is an understanding person. Although the Julu Academy is strong, it is still a middle-tier sect. Although there are few tigers, you can only be famous under my lord. Wang Zhu laughed loudly. Bai Detian turned to look at Wang Zhu and revealed a faint smile. However, his eyes flashed with disdain and arrogance. Be willing to be under others. Bai Detian did not have such thoughts. A fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. Temph, with just the two of you. Meng Rongrong immediately shifted her anger to Wang Zhu. Wang Zhu laughed coldly and said, I heard that the Julu Academy's literary style is at its peak. They are the best in the four arts. I am not talented, but I only love the zither. Does your Julu Academy dare to fight me? Fight the zither? Countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed strange expressions. Young master, what is Wang Zhu trying to do? Qing Long frowned and asked. Wang Zhu's zither skills are outstanding. He wants to defeat the people from the Julu Academy and indirectly boost Yaro Tianshang's reputation. He wants to convince Bai Detian to surrender. Yang Chuan explained. Keikakik, this Wang Zhu is really courting death. He doesn't even know who he is facing. Dongfang Zhengpai suddenly revealed a smug smile. Oh. Yang Chuan looked at Dongfang Zhengpai. As far as I know, in the Julu Academy, no one can surpass little lass Meng in the way of the zither. Dongfang Zhengpai whispered. Chapter 452. Ding 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 ding. Wang Zhu plucked the zither strings, and the sound of the zither seemed to enter the hearts of all the Xioja. The wind that had been blowing in the surroundings suddenly stopped. Zither silence. Meng Rongrong said in a deep voice. While speaking, Meng Rongrong also took out a red guqin. The head of the guqin seemed to be carved with a phoenix head. Meng Rongrong sat down gently and placed the zither on her knees. With a wave of his hand. Clink 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 clink. With just a casual pluck, a strong gust of wind suddenly blew from Meng Rongrong's location. The wind was extremely strong and looked like a surging river. As Meng Rongrong plucked the guqin, the wind surged forward. The king spider's pupils suddenly shrank. An expert. King Spider exclaimed. The strings in King Spider's hand were also quickly plucked. Rumble. In front of Spider King, a gust of wind suddenly appeared. It was just like the effect of Meng Rongrong's poke. The gust of wind was extremely thick. With a wave of Spider King's hand, it was like a surging river, rolling forward. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong and Spider King kept plucking the zither strings, their eyes filled with solemnity. The two powerful storms were like the scourge of the end of the world. Wherever they passed, rocks were sent flying. Even the small hills in the middle were swept up by the storms. Two great zither experts were in a showdown. The main flow of the battle was like the surging of a great river, surging forward. Some of the aftershocks created 10 tornadoes that swept in all directions. Ah! 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 The thousands of spectating Shouja were blown around by the strong wind and retreated backwards again and again. Even though he was standing behind Meng Rongrong, he could still feel the fierce wind. Guqin. Yang Chuan looked at Meng Rongrong in surprise. What a strong Guqin. Meow. What? What did you say? Dongfeng Zhengpai shouted. The wind was too strong, and the sound of the wind was too loud. Yang Chuan's voice could not be heard clearly. Yang Chuan, let's retreat, retreat. Dongfeng Zhengpai roared. Only then could his voice be heard. Yang Chuan shook his head. Then I'm going. Dongfang who shouted and was the first to run away. Several Confucian cultivators looked at him with disdain. This was a battle between the Julu Academy and the other academies. They were challenging the other academies. As a great scholar of the Julu Academy, if they didn't ask you to fight, why would you run away? Yang Chuan looked at the center of the arena. The two great river-like storms crashed into each other. Although the two storms were powerful, they were not fast. In the past, Yang Chuan only saw layers upon layers of sound waves in Liangjing. However, this was a pure sound river. Neither of the two powerful martial artists held back, and the rolling sound river collided with each other. Before the two sound rivers came into contact with each other, a vortex of vacuum was formed between them. It was like a wind tunnel that was spinning violently. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong's hands moved faster and faster. The two sound rivers finally collided. Boom tilde 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 tilde. A large number of mountains and rivers exploded under the sound river. The martial artists who were hiding on the side retreated again and again. Ah! Help! Oh my God! The martial artists who were watching were blown away. The power of the sound river was extremely majestic. And at the center of the collision of the two sound rivers, suddenly, a huge vortex appeared. Rumble. The vortex rotated very slowly, but it carried the same powerful force from the two sides. Sound splitting the void. Yang Chuan said in surprise. Meow. Meow grabbed Yang Chuan's shoulder and struggled. Phew. Meow turned into Yang Chuan's arms and hid in his arms, revealing a pair of big eyes to secretly watch this magnificent scene. Chapter 453. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong plucked the strings violently. In the center of the sound river, a huge whirlpool was slowly pushing towards the Spider King. Her speed was not fast, but it was clear that Meng Rongrong had the upper hand at the moment. On the opposite side, the Spider King looked terrible. Little Meng, your Guqin Dao has improved so fast. Even your father isn't as strong as you, the Spider King said. Meng Rongrong kept plucking the strings and ignored it. Rumble. The huge whirlpool pushed towards the Spider King bit by bit. The Spider King's defeat was obvious, and it seemed to be struggling bitterly. Meng Rongrong's forehead was sweating profusely. She was obviously struggling. How terrifying. Even if I enter this sound river, I might be killed quickly, Qing Long exclaimed. Sweat drenched Meng Rongrong's cheeks, and similarly, it also wet the Spider King's cheeks. The Spider King's eyes flashed viciously as it gritted its teeth. Little Meng, for the sake of the Lord's great cause, I'm sorry. The Spider King's eyes were cold. 8 black lights followed the huge sound river and rolled towards the opposite side. The black lights were very secretive. They were like thin needles, shuttling through the sound river and sinking quickly into the rolling sound river, making it impossible for people to detect them. Rumble. The huge whirlpool in the center continued to push towards the Spider King. Meng Rongrong took advantage of the situation and plucked the strings faster and faster. It was as if there was an extra pair of hands on the strings, and 4 hands were playing the strings non-stop. So fast. Yang Chuan exclaimed. It wasn't that there was an extra pair of hands, but that the speed was so fast that it created a visual difference. Ding 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 ding. Meng Rongrong seemed to have not vented for a long time, and for a moment, she seemed to have forgotten her feelings. She only knew how to increase the sound technique and the power of the sound river. She didn't notice that 8 black lights were lurking not far away. Under the roaring sound river, it was impossible to notice this subtle difference. Meng Rongrong didn't notice it, nor did the group of Confucian cultivators. Only Yang Chuan suddenly narrowed his eyes. It wasn't Yang Chuan who discovered it, but the warning from poison ivy on Yang Chuan's left wrist. The poison ivy emitted an intense green light. Poison. Furthermore, it was highly toxic. Where is the poison? Yang Chuan asked in surprise. Yang Chuan looked around and then looked at Meng Rongrong. He did not notice anything. Point it out. Yang Chuan shouted. Swish. A thin vine whip suddenly emerged from Poison Vine's birthmark. The vine whip was pointed at the Sound River in front of Meng Rongrong. Yang Chuan took a closer look and suddenly saw a black light. The black light flashed into the Sound River and disappeared in the blink of an eye. King Spider? Poison? Yang Chuan looked in surprise at the king spider in the distance, whose eyes remained calm. Oh no! The place where poison ivy was pointing at was getting closer and closer to Meng Rongrong. Save her! Not save her! Seeing Meng Rongrong playing the guqin with all her might, Yang Chuan hesitated for a moment. But soon, Yang Chuan's eyes were filled with determination. Not to mention that he had to compete for the god's investiture strategy in Julu City, he could not watch Mr. Munro's sister die. The 8 black lights were getting closer and closer to Meng Rongrong. They were about to reach Meng Rongrong. Go! Yang Chuan took a step forward and flung poison ivy in his hand. Swish! Poison ivy quickly emerged and wrapped around Meng Rongrong's body. Yang Chuan pulled fiercely. What are you doing? The surrounding Confucian cultivators suddenly exclaimed. Meng Rongrong's guqin Dao suppressed the other party. The Confucian cultivators were waiting to celebrate when a vine whip suddenly wrapped around Meng Rongrong. Chapter 454. Bastard, what are you doing? Who are you? Bastard. The Confucian cultivators were furious. Meng Rongrong's hands paused as she was entangled by the vine whip. She seemed to be stunned by the vine whip. Ah! Meng Rongrong screamed. However, as she screamed, Meng Rongrong saw clearly that 8 black lights were rapidly shooting towards her original position. Swish! 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 The 8 beams of black light suddenly stabbed the vine whip. This is... Meng Rongrong immediately thought of a possibility. However, Meng Rongrong being pulled away was no longer a matter of poison needles. Meng Rongrong was carrying a massive sound river. When the zither was pulled away, the sound river lost control and suddenly pulled Meng Rongrong. Boom! Meng Rongrong fell into the sound river. The poison vines wrapped around Meng Rongrong pulled Yang Chuan into the sound river as well. Ah! Young master! Qing Long immediately exclaimed. First young mistress! The Confucian cultivators exclaimed. Boom! The sound river seemed like a real river, surging past. The two were immediately swept away by the sound river, rushing towards the center of the whirlpool. Ah! In the blink of an eye, the two arrived at the center of the sound river. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two were pulled into the center of the whirlpool. Ah! First young mistress! The Confucian cultivators exclaimed. Qing Long also felt anxious. On the other side, Spider King suddenly stopped playing his zither. He looked at this scene in shock. On the other side, Tiger King Bai Ditien frowned slightly as he stared at the scene. Miao was also pulled into the sound river whirlpool. The countless cultivators in the surroundings revealed shocked expressions. The Julu Academy's first young mistress was swept away with a man. The sound river was slowly becoming smaller, but it was only slowly. It was unknown how long it would take for it to completely disappear. As for Yang Chuan and Meng Rongrong, who were caught in the storm, they were surrounded by sonic booms and raging winds. Meng Rongrong raised a wall of air, but it was shattered by the sonic boom in the blink of an eye. Even Qing Long, who was in the emptiness realm, would be shattered by the sonic boom, let alone the two of them who had yet to reach the emptiness realm. The more Meng Rongrong struggled, the stronger the force became. His face was filled with panic. Don't struggle, you won't be able to overcome the sound waves. Just go with the flow and let yourself adapt to the frequency, Yang Chuan shouted at Meng Rongrong. When Meng Rongrong heard this, she calmed down a lot and immediately stopped resisting. Now that the two of them had let go of their resistance, the sound waves were no longer impacting them, but the raging winds were still directly affecting their bodies. Bang! Bang! The two people's clothes were instantly torn apart by the raging winds. In the blink of an eye, the two people and the cat were completely naked. Only Meow was still biting on the felt hat, unwilling to let go. Ah! Meng Rongrong covered her sensitive parts and screamed in shock. Although the people outside could not see what was happening in the whirlpool, the two people inside the whirlpool could see everything clearly. In an instant, the two of them were completely naked. In the outside world, the people of the Julu Academy were extremely anxious. The young mistress was gone in the blink of an eye. Ah, young mistress clothes. A servant girl suddenly soared into the sky and caught a piece of what looked like Meng Rongrong's torn clothes. Young master's clothes. Qing Long soared into the sky and caught some pieces of Yang Chuan's clothes. Whirlpool space. A man and a woman. Their clothes were all torn. The thousands of cultivators in the surroundings immediately thought of a charming scene. Ah, young mistress clothes, they're all torn. Two servant girls quickly ran over and collected Meng Rongrong's torn clothes. Dongfang Zhenpai had unknowingly appeared beside Qing Long. Yang Chuan actually dared to do such a thing in broad daylight. Dongfang Zhenpai had a look of deep hatred on his face. It shouldn't be what you're thinking. Qing Long immediately defended Yang Chuan. He's really a role model for our generation. Dongfang Zhenpai's expression changed and became incomparably wretched. Qing Long, who was standing at the side, opened his mouth. He originally wanted to defend Yang Chuan, but he suddenly didn't know what to say. Chapter 455. King Spider also stopped plucking the zither, and the vast sound river gradually became smaller. The sound river became smaller, but it did not disappear quickly. The whirlpool in the center was still spinning, and the interior could not be seen clearly. After Yang Chuan and Meng Rongrong were sucked in, the group of Confucian cultivators quickly jumped up. Disperse the sound river. Save young mistress, a Confucian cultivator shouted. Okay, the group of Confucian cultivators shouted. Stop. Dongfang Zhenpai suddenly shouted. En. The Confucian cultivators looked at Dongfang Zhengji. No one moves. Dongfang Zhengji shook his head. Uncle Master, why? Uncle Master, young mistress is in danger now. The Confucian cultivators shouted. It's dangerous to blindly save them. They might have already adapted to the sound. If you act recklessly, the sound river will become chaotic, and they will die faster. Dongfang Zhengji shouted. Ah! The Confucian cultivators raised their eyebrows. Uncle Master is right. I remember now. Teacher said this before too. Don't move. Retreat. Most of the Confucian cultivators had come into contact with the zither before, so they understood quickly. Retreat. Not only did they retreat, but they also asked the surrounding cultivators to retreat far away to prevent any accidents. Rumble. The sound river gradually became smaller, and everyone waited patiently. At this moment, King Spider did not attack again. He just watched coldly. Previously, it was just a bet. If he added insult to injury now, he would have an irreconcilable grudge with the Julu Academy. Bai Detian also waited patiently, his eyes flashing with doubt. In the whirlpool, Meng Rongrong covered her sensitive parts and screamed. Yang Chuan wrapped a vine whip around Meng Rongrong, preventing her from flying out. However, Yang Chuan was also naked like Meng Rongrong. He held Meow in one hand and Meng Rongrong in the other. Vine whip. Cage. Yang Chuan shouted. Swish. The vine whips suddenly expanded, growing longer and longer. In the blink of an eye, they weaved into a huge cage, enclosing the two people and the cat. The cages became denser and denser. Although they were swaying in the wind, as the number of cages increased, a sphere was formed in the blink of an eye, isolating them from the outside world. A huge vine whip sphere wrapped around the two of them. Meow. While Gale was blocked by the vine whip, Meow Meow quickly poured out a large number of luminous pearls from its felt hat. For a moment, the vine whip ball became incomparably bright. The two naked people immediately faced each other openly. Ah, hooligan. Meng Rongrong immediately covered her body and squatted down. Her eyes were full of grievance and anger. Meow, Yang Chuan is a big hooligan. Meow added insult to injury. Meow. Yang Chuan was speechless. Take out 2 sets of clothes and give her one, Yang Chuan said. Meow. Meow did as she was told and threw a set of clothes over. Meng Rongrong looked at the clothes and quickly put them on. When she put them on, it was inevitable that her body would be exposed. Fortunately, Yang Chuan did not take advantage of her and put on his own clothes. Rustle, rustle. Soon, the 2 of them put on their clothes. Meow, Yang Chuan's clothes are too big for you. Why don't you take them off? I'll find another one for you. Meow shouted to Meng Rongrong. No. Meng Rongrong exclaimed. It was not easy to put on the clothes, how could she take them off? Meng Rongrong quickly tightened her clothes. Miss Meng, you saw it too. The situation was urgent and the Spider King poisoned you, so I had no choice but to pull you away. Yang Chuan explained. Meng Rongrong stared at Yang Chuan, her eyes full of shame and anger. Was it this person in front of her who saw her pure body? Chapter 456. Walking over, Meng Rongrong slapped Yang Chuan's face with shame and anger. Bang! Her hand was suddenly caught by Yang Chuan in mid-air. It didn't work. You. Meng Rongrong was even more ashamed and angry. Miss Meng, it's not that I, Yang Chuan, am stingy. It was just an accident. If you have any complaints, I don't mind. I won't argue with you in other ways. But for a man, 2 things about the body are intolerable. One is kneeling down, and the other is slapping the face. Yang Chuan shook his head and said in a deep voice. With that, Yang Chuan moved Meng Rongrong's hand away. The sound waves here were vast, and neither of them used their magical power. She wanted to slap him to vent the anger in her chest, but it didn't work. You bastard! Meng Rongrong roared. With a roar, Meng Rongrong's tears unconsciously came out. In her life, when had she ever suffered such a big grievance? Looking at Yang Chuan, Meng Rongrong's eyes were full of resentment. Meow, you are unreasonable. Yang Chuan looked at you, and didn't you also see Yang Chuan's naked body? You didn't lose anything. Meow suddenly shouted. Huh? Meng Rongrong looked at Meow. Didn't lose anything? Hearing Meow's scolding, Meng Rongrong felt even more wronged. Meow, besides, Yang Chuan even gave you clothes to wear. You are not made of top-grade spirit stones. You won't lose a piece of meat if he looked at you, Meow said disdainfully. Meow's logic made Meng Rongrong suddenly have an impulse to hit the wall. His previous grievances were mostly dissipated by this impulse. That's enough, Meow. Yang Chuan stopped Meow. That's true, Meow said. Yang Chuan smiled bitterly. Meng Rongrong wiped her tears and turned her head away, ignoring Yang Chuan. Rumble. 2 hours later, the Sound River finally disappeared. The huge whirlpool in the center of the whirlpool also slowly dissipated. When the whirlpool dissipated, a 10-meter big green ball was revealed. A sphere woven from green vines. Countless Shouja craned their necks and stared at the sphere. Young miss. The scholarly cultivators called out. Swish. Poison ivy retracted his vines, and the green vine sphere rapidly thinned, gradually revealing the 2 figures. Look, Meng Rongrong is wearing men's clothes. Ah, it's true. It's that man's clothes. What have they been doing inside for more than 2 hours? Don't tell me that Meng Rongrong's clothes that flew out were torn by that man. That man molested Meng Rongrong? You beast. Meng Rongrong. She's my Dao companion in my dreams. Yours? No, in Julu City, Meng Rongrong is the dream companion of countless Shouja. Kill him. Bastard, kill him. Some hot-blooded Shouja immediately shouted in anger. Swish. Poison ivy was completely retracted into his sleeve. Young miss, I have collected your clothes and Chenkuan bag. A maid came forward and said. Meng Rongrong turned her head and looked at Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan, I hate you. Meng Rongrong said angrily. Meow. Meow gave tit for tat. Yang Chuan rubbed his nose and did not refute. Let's go. Meng Rongrong shouted. As she spoke, she took the 2 maids and flew towards Julu City. The scholarly cultivators looked at Yang Chuan hatefully and followed Meng Rongrong. Qing Long, did you hear that? Just now, Meng Rongrong said that she hated Yang Chuan? Dongfang Zhengpai said with anticipation. I heard it. Qing Long nodded, not understanding what was going on. Wow, it's true. Brother Yang, you really did everything? Dongfang Zhengpai immediately shouted with excitement. Chapter 457. Dongfang Zhengpai's shout attracted the angry shouts of Meng Rongrong's admirers. Yang Chuan? Molest Meng Rongrong. Kill him. Bastard. Kill him. A group of cultivators charged forward angrily. Stop. What are you doing? He is a guest of the Julu Academy. Who dares to touch him? Dongfang Zhengpai shouted. As expected, the status of a great scholar of the Julu Academy was very effective. The cultivators who were about to charge forward immediately stopped in their tracks. Brother Yang, let's go. Dongfang Zhengpai said. Yang Chuan nodded. Qing Long, Yang Chuan, and Miao followed Dongfang Zhengpai and chased after the scholars of the Julu Academy. Despicable. Shameless. In an instant, many people slandered Yang Chuan. Similarly, after today's incident, Yang Chuan's name would definitely spread throughout Julu City. Before Yang Chuan left, he glanced at Bai Detian, who had been standing with his hands behind his back. Bai Detian also looked at Yang Chuan, but more at Miao, who was on Yang Chuan's shoulder. Upper Meridian Tiger Tribe? How is that possible? Bai Detian frowned as he watched the group leave. All right, Bai Detian. The people of the Julu Academy have left. You have nothing to worry about now. Follow me back to meet the Lord. King Spider laughed. Bai Detian turned to look at King Spider. Wuzhou, send the guests off, Bai Detian said indifferently. As he spoke, Bai Detian turned and walked back. Not far behind, there was a large hall. Bai Detian walked back to it. Yes. Zhuo Wuzhou nodded. King Spider, please. Zhuo Wuzhou looked at King Spider. What? Zhuo Wuzhou, what do you mean? King Spider said coldly. I don't mean anything. Bai Detian is our new king. His words represent our entire tribe. Zhuo Wuzhou shook his head. You. King Spider said coldly. Zhuo Wuzhou made a gesture of sending off the guest. Bastard. The demons behind King Spider were enraged. Spider King waved his hand and stopped the great demons. Let's go. Spider King shook his head. Milord. All the dire monsters cried out in surprise. Let's go. Wang Zhu shouted coldly. As he spoke, he took the lead to fly up. The group of great demons snorted coldly. The great demons left in the blink of an eye. Flying in the air. My lord, how are we going to explain this to the Lord when we return? A great demon asked with an ugly expression. Isn't it time to go back, Bai Detian? I will convince him. Let's find a place to stay first. Spider King said solemnly. Yes. The great demons nodded. The two competing factions had left, and the Xiozha that had been watching also left. In the blink of an eye, only the Tiger Tribe was left. Yang Chuan and his group. Brother Yang, what happened to you guys just now? Dongfang Zhengpai asked with a wretched expression. Nothing happened. Yang Chuan shook his head. Miao, I know. Miao said proudly. Oh. Then, Miao, tell me about it. Dongfang Zhengpai said excitedly. I want to eat a supreme grade spirit stone. Miao stretched out its little paw. Ah, okay. Dongfang Zhengpai quickly took out a supreme grade spirit stone. Miao. Miao cried out in satisfaction. What happened? Dongfang Zhengpai asked. At that time, both of their clothes were naked. Then, Yang Chuan touched Meng Rongrong. Miao immediately cried out. Oh! Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. Miao, don't talk nonsense. When did he touch her? Yang Chuan immediately frowned. You didn't. You grabbed Meng Rongrong's hand. Miao cried out. That was to stop her. Yang Chuan said. Stopping Meng Rongrong's slap didn't sound good. Yang Chuan changed the word slap to action. What? Meng Rongrong took the initiative? Dongfang Zhengpai immediately cried out in shock. Meow, of course. Meng Rongrong kept calling Yang Chuan a hooligan. Meow said. Ah! Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yang Chuan with reverence. What nonsense. Yang Chuan had a headache. Chapter 458. Yang Chuan and his group suddenly stopped and looked at a huge city in front of them. The city was built around a mountain range and stretched as far as the eye could see. There were many floating islands in the city, making it look like a fairyland. The mountain range that was surrounded by the floating islands shone with boundless righteousness, making it look solemn and dignified. In the sky, there was a huge golden cloud that covered the entire city. The golden cloud was very thick and it was rolling, emitting a dazzling golden light. On top of the golden cloud, there were 5 cloud-shaped golden dragons. It was a magnificent sight. This is Julu City, Qing Long said. It's magnificent, isn't it? The golden cloud is the sea of fortune clouds. There are 5 golden dragons on it. Julu City is one of the biggest cities in the world. After 50,000 years, it has a strong foundation, Dongfang Zhengpai said proudly. Sea of fortune clouds. Yang Chuan's eyes flashed with affection. Oh right, where were we just now? You said you want to participate in the Heaven's Gift Conference. Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yang Chuan. That's right. Yang Chuan nodded. Ha ha ha, your father was the best in the last conference. When the blood demon appeared, no one could compete with him. This time, you want to participate and compete for the Tiance? Dongfang Zhengpai's eyes lit up. No. Yang Chuan shook his head. Oh. This time, I want to compete for the God's bestowment strategy. Yang Chuan's eyes flashed with determination. What? The God's bestowment strategy? Dongfang Zhengpai was shocked. Meow, it's just the God's bestowment strategy. Why are you so nervous? Meow rolled its eyes. Dongfang Zhengpai had a strange look on his face. The Yang family is really talented. Your father was already awesome. He competed for the Tiance with a group of Emptiness Realm experts as an Immortal State expert and won in the end. You're even better. You want to compete for the God's bestowment strategy? What? Could it be that the rules have changed? Yang Chuan said with a smile. It's true that it hasn't changed. It's just that when the time comes, you'll be fighting a group of Confucians by yourself. You'll only be 20 years old, right? Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yang Chuan as if he was looking at a monster. Yang Chuan smiled. But that's good too. Those Confucian scholars in the college are all jealous. I've been annoyed with them for a long time. I'll support you. I'll help you cheat, Dongfang Zhengpai said with a smile. You can even cheat. Qing Long was surprised. I'll do my best. For example, if you need any books, I'll pass them to you. Dongfang Zhengpai smiled. Thank you very much. Yang Chuan nodded. No, I remember now. You have another opponent this time. Dongfang Zhengpai's expression suddenly changed. Opponent? He's also fighting for the God investiture strategy. That person is back. I remember now. He's back. Dongfang Zhengpai said worriedly. Who? The Confucian sage, Sima Yuntian. He used to be the principal of the right house of the Julu Academy. His position was second only to the principal. He led the 72 disciples of the Confucian scholars and traveled the world. He cultivated righteousness and enlightened the world. He recently returned. I heard that he is going to fight for the God investiture strategy. The return of the Confucian sage is expected by everyone. No one in Julu City doubts that he will fail. Dongfang Zhengpai frowned. Confucian sage. Sima Yuntian? Everyone's support? Yang Chuan's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. In a large hall, Bai Detian was drinking wine alone. Zhuo Wuzhou and Zhuo Qianqiu were standing respectfully in front of him. King, what do we do now? How do we explain this to the Julu Academy? Zhuo Wuzhou asked worriedly. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.